Good morning. Oh, come on, guys. The coffee is free. We should have more energy. Well, free to you, vast expense to me. Thank you, Marriott, again. Please don't ban me. All right, one last time. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Thank you all for attending. I know this is it's a work day, it's a school day, it's 8 a.m. Well, it's now 9 a.m. It wasn't easy. I know people came as far as Linden, Region 10. Shout out, she was the first person here. It takes a lot of effort to come to these events, and you paid good money, and the goal is to deliver value. Now, why are we here? This entire session is called a Power Session. It's a play on my last name, not GPL at all. But the entire thing is about marketing yourself. The concept comes from, if you don't know who I am, my name is Alex Power, and I do a lot of content online. I do a lot of brand work. And a benefit of that, or a byproduct of that, is I have a lot of brands who want to work with me, and there's only so much time and energy I have in the world. So I figured, look, let me try and get as many of you in a room as possible, and I'll just tell you how I do it, because ultimately I want to see you do better. I can't service everybody, but that doesn't mean I don't want you to do as great as you possibly humanly can. So, birth, Power Session, market yourself. Let's dive right into it. This is how I make content, because that's what we're all here for. Now, the really important part about creating content online is trust compounds. The entire exercise is about building trust between you and your audience. The whole point is to get seen, to get trusted, and then eventually get customers. We're all business. Well, who here runs a business? Who here works in a business, and who here would ultimately like to see more customers as a result of that? Great. That's why we're here. That's why you spend the money. You want ROI. Addressing the three fears that I know we all experience. Fear one is, I will look stupid. You will. We all pay something called the cringe tax. Everyone does it. It's just the cost of doing business. It's your first couple of videos. If you look back at my first few videos, they're horrendous. They're truly unwatchable. But eventually, it's like anything in life. You slowly get better and better and better. When you first go out and make your first, let's say, I see some hoteliers and some hotel management here. You might not like the way your first couple look, but by creating the content around the way you do things, the way your operation works, the way that your business works, you slowly get better, and you pay the cringe tax, and guess what? Eventually, you get better. Things don't get easier, you just get better at handling them. Fear two, what if it doesn't work? Greatness is not a 100% hit rate. And one of the greatest concerns that I've heard over and over and over is, what if I make 100 videos and only get 1,000 views? Okay, but just to put in perspective, Machel Montano, the king of soca, undisputed, I will fight you to the death on that one, I'll die on that hill, has produced more than 500 songs, and 75 of them have been hits. That's a 15% hit rate, right? Chandra Paul, one of the best cricketers probably in the world, the best batsman that Guyana has produced in a long time. He only hits a century one in every 9 innings. Stephen Curry misses more three-pointers than he hits. WD-40, anybody familiar with that brand? You know why it's called WD-40? Because WD 1 through 39 were complete failures. 40 was the 40th recipe, and then it worked, right? So the whole point is you don't need everything you produce to be a massive success. You just need to keep putting yourself out there so that success can find your work eventually. And it compounds, right? As you build trust and you build rapport, you get people following, people interacting, you get better, you start to realize what works and what doesn't. Success will find you. So we're covering the bases to start. Now, fear three. What people actually, what will people think? I got a little reality check for you. The people that you fear, you're like, oh no, what are my friends gonna think? They ain't watching it. It's a sad reality, but it'll actually empower you. I got a great example of this. I recently did a video with Guyana Cup, right? That got 812 likes on Instagram. 9 of them were people that I actually know. I did a video at the South Dakota circuit for the GT3 race. I got 1,526 likes on Instagram, and 11 of them are people that I actually know. Now, I don't want you to feel sorry or bad for me in any way. I'm just trying to illustrate that the people that you're scared, the people that you're worried will judge you, they aren't watching it. Your customers are, okay? I'm just trying to dispel all of your fears here. You know, like, oh no, what's my childhood friend from blah, blah, da, 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 or like, all the people I grew up with, what are they gonna think when I put myself out there? You know, I grew up in Georgetown. I've been blessed to have many friends. I have one childhood friend in the room. Big up Rajesh. What I'm trying to say is, the people you're scared of embarrassing yourself in front of, they ain't watching, right? When you put yourself out there and you create your content, you're going to be talking to people outside of every room you've ever imagined. There are people from all over the country here that have made it here, like people that I've never even met, or I've met online and haven't met in person, who are here because they see value in what I'm putting out. The same thing with your businesses. When you start to create content, you tell your stories, you're going to connect with people that you can't even, like, from the depths of everywhere you can't even imagine. It is actually the most magical, incredible thing. When we get into content, this is how I think about it. This is my process. We've evolved to ignore ads. Who here scrolls on Facebook and like they could see, like you know when an ad is an ad or a post is a post? Can we all agree? If you see an AI poster that's like, all right, buy 2, get 3 free or whatever it is, aren't we all kind of programmed? Like, do you scroll past or do you mostly like absorb what's happening? You scroll past because we've evolved to ignore ads. We're bombarded by them every single day. It's been 20 long years on Zuckerberg's Facebook that we have been dealing with ads. So I think like it's just become human nature that we just ignore it. So the way that I think about content is you need to be able to convey a value offering without being an ad, right? And there's a lot of different ways to do that. But essentially, you need to be able to convey interest, value, and availability without actually saying it, okay? So like, for example, I did a video not recently, about 2 months ago with Dixie. Where's Dixie? There you go, with ice cream out in Buxton. And it was me trying the ice cream for the first time. And I was like, you made this? And again, I didn't say how great, like, oh, actually I did say, I said it was the best ice cream I've had, but I was like, you made this? And there aren't many places making artisanal local ice cream. So again, that message was conveyed immediately, whether you knew it or not. And then I showed Dixie and she's like, yes, I made it. We had a gaff. And I was like, you made this? And then she goes on to say what's in it. And again, what you're doing is you're building interest. You're conveying the value right there because this is local ice cream that no one else makes that I make. We said where it was and we said it was available, XYZ, this is where to get it, right? So look, there's gonna be some, unfortunately, I'm gonna be shattering paradigms here because a lot of my content, don't tell anyone, is an ad. But it's conveyed in a way that's valuable and interesting, and I hope to add value in the eyes of the people that consume it, but at the end of the day, we are just, like I am just promoting and telling stories, right? But we do it in a, I wouldn't even say modest, we just do it in a smart, roundabout way. But the whole goal is, again, what have we evolved to do? Scroll past ads. So the entire idea is you talk about your business, you talk about your product, you talk about your process most importantly, and you build trust and rapport. Now we'll get into that a little bit deeper just now. Everybody eyes on the screen for a second. Who has heard the saying sex sells? I think we all have, right? It's a message from the mid-2000s. Who believes that sex sells in 2026? Like really? Well, you're a sexy man, so of course you would. Sorry? Oh, of course. Wild Tales, by the way. If you want to go on a wild adventure, talk to my boy. Now, I don't actually believe that. In 2026, what really, like the way the algorithm works is mildly interesting niche content sells. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if you recently saw when I went and did the walkthrough with the horse stables. I went to the trainer and I was like, look, just tell me everything and I'll film everything and clip it all up. And again, whatever you think is the most boring thing, the way that interest is driven through the algorithm on social media is mildly interesting niche topics drive engagement. So we talked about the horses. We showed that the horses have ACs. We showed this. We showed that. And then the whole idea of that campaign is over the next 3 weeks or so is to get more people interested in horse racing without me saying, you should come to Guyana Cup. It's more like, hey, these are the horses. These are the jockeys. Did you know horses have little goat companions? You know, again, it just builds a lot of rapport. And then at the end of the day, you're like, I kind of want to go to that event. You know? Same sort of thing with motor racing. It could be same sort of thing with like when I did the campaign with Guyana Conservation Society, where we walked through all the snakes. You know, at the end of it, we said, all right, there's an event, but the entire goal was to build interest in snakes, right? Just by showing you, by watching me. A little secret: I'm terrified of snakes. I'm just there like shaking, just please don't eat me. Now, every video is a story. I find that I consume a lot of content. I mean, who here doom scrolls in the evenings before you go to sleep? I think we're all a little bit guilty of that. I see a lot of just... Now, there's a real differentiator between good content that drives engagement and then just content that kind of fizzles out after a little bit. And this is what I mean when I say sex doesn't sell in 2026, right? If you just go on there and you're like Anders and you put your hot gelatine on, and you know, you might get your 5,000, 6,000, but it doesn't, like 5,000 or 6,000 views, but it doesn't really drive engagement, right? Now, if you mindfully, before filming a video, decide, all right, it's gonna have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And this could be something that's 6 seconds long or 180 seconds long, 3 minutes. But just have some sort of intention with your video so it's not just some random jumbling of experiences and stories, because that's a really good way, or that is the surefire way of losing engagement. People just keep scrolling, right? You just need a beginning, a middle, and an end. Hey, I'm showing you these snakes. The snakes are great. There's an event. It just, you know what I mean? Or when we were with Dixie, like, this is the ice cream, this is how you make it, this is where it is. When you create content, I want you to, like for your business, I really want you to be mindful of, you're not just running a camera through the kitchen and doing nothing. It's like, this is my patisserie chef. And then she talks about something mildly interesting. Or this is how I make chocolate ganache, or da-da-da-da. You know, it's a beginning, a middle, and an end. I don't want you to make it 10 minutes long, whatever. Like that 10-minute clip, you could probably chop up into 3 or 4 meaningful pieces, but I really want you to be mindful when you're thinking about the videos that I will produce, the videos I'll put out there, and what story it tells. Whether we're doing especially, I do a lot of Guyana tourism stuff as well. Especially last year, we went on adventures everywhere. And I would try and tell the stories the best way I could. And again, I apply what story is happening, what's the beginning, what's the middle, what's the end. We were down with the last of the great Wapashana hammock makers, and I thought that was a great story. So I had her introduce herself. Well, I introduced her, she introduced herself, we had a clip. She made a bit of a hammock. She talked about how long it takes to do it, and then it just closed out. That was all it needed to be. In 2026, when you make videos about your business, about your experiences, it's not like it's 2006 where you need a full media team to be able to produce one segment. From your phone, you can produce entire TV shows. So I implore you, please don't make 26-minute long things, but if we're targeting vertical format on social media and you want to try and drive views, it could be a minute, it could be 30 seconds, it could be 3 minutes. Just tell your story and don't drag it on and don't make it any shorter. You know, it's just make sure that each video has a topic or a point, even if the point isn't abundantly clear, because you don't need to spoon feed people. Okay, are we all clear on this one? What's important? A story, there you go. Now, the process, the magic. I wish I could tell you it was actually magic. Really basic. And this is like every single time I have a conversation with someone about it, they're like, oh, wow, that's a good idea. Decent lighting will enhance the way your video looks tenfold. Right? You could have the cheapest camera in the world. As long as you have good lighting, you'll actually see that the quality and the feel and the way that people interact with it greatly increases. You need a decent camera or a phone, but like I said, decent lighting is probably more important. There's a lot of people that I work with or I come across who tell me, like, yeah, I want to make videos, but I can buy the next phone just now and then I'll do it. You have more technology in your front pocket than the entire space program did in the 1980s. Okay, your camera is not the newest iPhone 26 Max or whatever it is, but chances that, like I know people like Norman in the back is one of the most prolific content creators around, and what are you on, a 13 Pro still? There you go, and that's like 4 years old, right, 5 years old. I still use my Samsung S24 as 2 or 3 iterations ago. You shouldn't, we know why we're saying that, we know why we're putting it on the universe, we're kind of making excuses because we might be a little bit scared, but when you compound what I just told you about, hey, the people you're worried about ain't watching it anyway. There's an entire world of potential audience that want to interact with you. So if you have a camera phone, who has a phone here with a camera? I think it's fair to say everybody does. You have the ability to be able to make content about what you want to make, about the business you're doing. Very important as well is a quiet space. If you're filming indoors, you don't need a microphone. Just make sure it's kind of quiet. Outdoors, the same sort of thing, but I would be a lot more wary about having some sort of microphone. Gizmos and Gadgets right now are they didn't pay for this spot, but I use all DJI equipment, and Gizmos has the DJI, all the mics reasonably affordable. But if you're out and about, a microphone is the way to go. Who here is familiar with Mr. Beast? Makes YouTube videos. I don't know if you've heard. A small creator. So there was an interesting thing in the first couple of years of Mr. Beast's campaign online where he had a video and he saw that when he was out in a windy space, even if they were mic'd up, there was a drop-off on retention in one of his videos when there was just a little bit of wind noise, a little bit of... He immediately threw away all of his mics and bought better ones and started setting up wind walls and wind blockers and doing everything because he noticed that just even slightly poor audio had people drop off. Now, if your business is outdoors or there's a lot of noisy things going on, a mic is something that you might want to consider because you don't want to have that drop off, right? That's unnecessary loss of audience. All right, my gear. I'm giving you, I promise you I'll be pulling back the curtains. I use a DJI Osmo Pocket 3 for like 98% of everything. They are currently on sale. I think it's like $500 for the good vlog kit. I use my phone for the other bits. I have an older phone, like I was telling you. Indoors or voiceovers, you don't need a mic. The cameras and mics these days are so good. And then outdoors, I highly recommend get a mic. The reason why I actually use an Osmo instead of just using my phone, I will, again, another hill that I will die on is my Samsung is excellent. But I find that there is some, like when I upload directly from my phone to Instagram and to TikTok, it isn't native, and actually there's some compression there and it's not great. I'm just trying to produce the best thing. If you have an iPhone, you're good. But if you have a Samsung or an Android of any kind, it's a little bit more tricky. So we have a story. We know how to film. We know what we need to film with. We know that, all right, if you're outdoors, you need a mic. Wherever you are, whether it's indoors or outdoors, you need good lighting. Actually, to go back to the lighting point, did anybody see in my campaign for GMRC when they were setting up the VIP experience for Jumbo Jet, did anybody see a video where we had Andre, very large Trinidadian fella, like very well lit in the front? Now, he was super unhappy in that video. I don't know if it was conveyed or not, because he had started talking at the bottom of the hill, and there was a little bit of shadow on him, and I was looking at it, and I was like, Andre, I don't mean to be rude. Don't hate me for this. But everything you just said, I'm going to need you to say it again up there. And he's like, well, why? Because when we walked from here to here just to get the angle of the sun on his face, it made him pop, right? Like I said, the quality of your video is actually largely dependent on your lighting and not actually your camera, especially in the age of social media. So, like for instance, if I was to film a video now, I'd look up and I'd see lighting, and I'd be like, all right, that's kind of where I want to be. So I'd be very comfortable to film something right here. If you're outdoors in the sun, same sort of thing. Again, lighting is far more important than, they really should be teaching this in school. It's a lot more important than you'll ever imagine. Okay, so we're now on the hook. Does anybody know what a hook is in the context of videos? Not fishing. Leo? All right, so a hook is, as we evolve to ignore ads, we've also evolved to kind of sense that a video might not be for us. So in reality, you have about 3 seconds to try and hook someone who's watching your content, whether it's business or personal or whatever. Your hook is your first 3 seconds. It's really the topic of your video. So I will drive a hook. Like I'll think about what my hook will be for the video long beforehand. It grabs interest immediately, tells you what the video is about. So for instance, if I was gonna film a video at the beginning of this session before any of you guys got here, I would have done a video called, it would be me in the light with my camera, just about here, getting comfortable with it. Get ready with me for my first live business event. Now, as you scroll, you're like, oh, okay, he's doing his first live business event, and we're getting ready with him. Like, we know exactly what the video is gonna be about, so we in that minute, in that quick moment, have decided, all right, we're interested in this video, we're gonna watch it, right? Like, for instance, my friend Gerardo in the front here, he runs a new paddle club in town, so if he used to make a video, I'd really want him to be like, welcome to Guyana's first paddle club. And you're just like, oh, didn't even know Guyana had a paddle club. Or if you're familiar with that semi-viral video I had where I was going to the caves under Kumarao, it's caving in Guyana, and then the hook is just me trying to squeeze through, because a hook doesn't need to be spoken, a hook can just be visual as well. But immediately it tells you everything you need to know about the video. It's me, for some reason, squeezing between 2 rocks, just like going through caves, right? You know exactly what the video is about, but you're here. Now, this context will be for like any business as well, or whatever you're doing. Like if you are making ice cream, it's let's make ice cream again, or like let's make my famous cherry soft serve. And then you know exactly what the video is gonna be about, but you want to know. Another tip I have, which is what I do pretty much every time, is over-record. Why do we want to over-record? Anybody have any ideas? You always need more footage. Well, look, if you find yourself short of footage, you can't just conjure it up, no matter how good AI is. I'd rather have 20 minutes of semi-interesting niche content that I could cut down rather than have 30 seconds and really wish I had more, you know? So I would go around and like interview every single person and let them just kind of ramble on. Because when you find interesting people within your organization or your customers or even yourself, ramble. Because it is something that you're interested in and there's gonna be gold in there. So you wanna film everything that's even slightly mildly interesting. When I go on adventures, we'd be walking around and like, I have a great clip that I still have to post about some frogs that we found. And again, if we were in film school 20 years ago, I might tell you, hey, this video is gonna do great, it's just about a frog we found. But in 2026, mildly interesting niche subjects is what drives content. Again, because it's free. You as a consumer, you're just watching and you're like, all right, well, I find that slightly interesting, and just keep going, right? It costs you nothing except maybe 60 seconds of your life. Now, I will actually record, this is my little secret as well, I'll record some of my openings at the end. If you're filming content for your business, I have a general idea. You may have a general idea of what the video is going to be about. But what I'll actually do is go through and film everything with intent, so I know what the goal is. Like I'll go through and like Rajesh does distribution. So, all right, I know that I'm going to be talking about this product and this product, but I don't really know what I'm going to what goal I'm going to find. So I'll go through and I'll have one of the managers walk us through, and he'll just kind of rattle off himself and show us some product. And then at the end is when I actually film my openings. So I would say about like half the videos you ever watch with this face, first of all, thank you and apologies. And secondly, the first 3 seconds were actually filmed right at the end, right after any of the action has actually happened, because I know what I'm talking about now, because I want the hook to be effective. And the only way to be super effective and tell you exactly what the video is going to be about is because I've already lived it. Right? I know what the video is going to be about. I've just kind of walked back and then put myself in the setting just to kind of make it look like it might have been in the front. But you know, it isn't magic. I don't have a time machine, or I don't plan my day out so precisely. It's the little secret of I know exactly what the video is going to be about because, hey, I just lived it. I'm not planning it. Does that make sense? Now, when you film with intention, like I said, you want to decide the hook first, but you may not record it first. Now, I also record the same thing several times. So if you see me rambling on about one thing, or when we're on site with a brand, or even when I'm in the middle of the jungle, if you've done these things with me, you'll kind of know I'm very annoying, where I'll be like, hey, that was great. Let's do that again, actually. Or like, let's I just want a second or third or a fourth time at it because, again, we want to over-record, and you never know, the first take, like the first section of your first take might be great, and then the rest kind of a little bit lackluster, and then the second half of your third take might be good. There's no rule that says you can't chop it all up and make it flow, right? That's where, we'll get into that in a minute, but that's where your editing magic kind of comes in. It's all the same story, but you want to give yourself as many opportunities for greatness as possible. If you're walking through, let's say, a manufacturing process, I know it's a little bit harder, but if you've got a restaurant, if you've got a hotel, if you've got, it's probably especially hard in the middle of the jungle, but if you can, I would record the same thing several times. You never know. Like the first time you warm up, right, you loosey-goosey. You get the first one out, you get the hiccups out, and the second and third one, you'll actually find that, you deliver a little bit more quality. Sometimes though, if you think you've actually knocked it out of the park, you're good. It's vibes, but please, as you're getting started, mindfully try and over-record. You got time to be able to edit and cut it back down. Who here, when they think marketing on social media, if you have a small business, is anybody guilty of this? Just posting the final product and being like, all right, that's a video. Anybody? All right, I see it. I know y'all, you know. I've Googled all the businesses and I try and be as intentional as possible. That's great, but when I say we want mildly interesting niche topics, we want to see the process, man, and that's what really drives it. To give you an example, about 2 years ago when I first started creating content, I had my dehydration little factory, right? And I did a behind the scenes. Not once did I actually ever show a cocktail with the final product in it, but I told you all about it. I showed you the container that I had bought and walked you through, we had the electricians come through, and again, all these little slightly mildly interesting topics were videos. I did a couple where I showed the slicer and how you prepare the limes and you push them through. That did far too well. We got none to do here. But when you show the process, that's how you build trust, you build rapport, and then showing the behind the scenes. Again, we get into it in a little bit, but it's that transparency that really turns viewership into trust, into customers. So again, just before we move on, what do we want to do? Show the process. I need to hear you all say it one time. Show the process. Thank you. Now, how trust is built. This is literally the most important part. This is why we're here. This is why you should ever engage in social media. It's to build your audience, but the entire point of building an audience is to build trust with your audience. Now, number one is just be accurate and be transparent. So when we're showing the process, that's what I mean. Document everything. If people ask questions, you can actually reply to comments with videos addressing that. And again, it's not about smoke and mirrors. It's not about I don't want to swear. It's not about bullshitting your people. It's, again, just you build rapport and you build trust by being transparent. Now, let me walk you through an authority stack. I've talked about glamorous things like horse racing and car racing and hotels and patisseries. There's a little tire shack on the corner of Sheriff and, is it David? Or that turned into Lamaha. What street is that? Dennis. Okay, good. I think they're called Tire King. If Tire King was my business, I'd be making a series of videos about the most niche, if I was to try and pitch it to you as a consultant, you'd think I was crazy, but I'd make a couple of videos about what it like to buy tires, And that's it. It has a beginning, a middle, and end. This is how you buy tires. I would do a video showing how we sell tires. Again, mildly interesting, but if a consultant told you that, you'd think they're losing their mind. You'd ask yourself, why am I paying this person? I do an entire series on repairing tires. Interesting? Mildly, maybe? I don't know. And then I do an entire series on explaining the difference between why this tire is bigger than that one, or why this one is wider. Again, these 4 points here are at least 4 to 50 videos. Spread that over a year, one a week, that's an entire year's worth of content. Now what this does though, is if you're just steadily consuming all right, this is how this one person buys tires, and this is how this one person sells tires, and then this is the process for repairing, and this is then the more you involuntarily learn about this man's tire business just through compounding videos and compounding effect of building trust, That's all I got in my mind now. When I think of tires, who would I think of? The man on the corner of Dennis and Sheriff. I may not need a tire today, but you better believe when I need a tire, who am I probably going to call? Not the person I've been watching for the last year, mildly interesting niche content. It's just that's that's the entire goal here. No matter your business. And towards the end of this session, I come back on again and we're going to do a live workshop and I'll ask you guys what your businesses are and we'll come up with ideas and what kind of content you should be creating. But yeah, this is the authority stack. Again, just compounding lots and lots and lots of authoritative videos. All right, number 2 of how to build trust. And I see this a lot and we really need to address this is put a human touch on it. Okay, we want to see faces. We want to have real voices. I know AI is getting incredibly good and it's really, 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 really compelling, or it might sound like a good idea to try and do as much AI as possible. And actually, in marketing this event, there's quite a few towards the last week. Who received an almost crazy rant from me voice note on WhatsApp? Nobody? Oh, well, I sent like 100 or 200 of them. But what I was trying to do was like, in the last week or so, if you had reached out to any of my ads, I went through your WhatsApp business account and saw what you did, and I would just send you a almost crazy rant of like, so thank you for showing your interest. I see you do X, Y, Z. I see you do like a hair salon or you do wigs or whatever. This is the content I think you should be doing. I hope your business is great, whether you come to my event or not. But again, I'm just trying to add that personal touch to it. It isn't just like an automated response that we're all so used to, because again, we've evolved to a point where we ignore ads and we kind of we're beginning to, we have a little AI detection built in. So the more personal you could be to your potential customer, your client, or even your audience, the better, right? When I actually explained this to a close friend of mine, because they asked me, what am I spending my Sunday on? I was like, well, you would not believe this. They asked, why don't you just use AI? 11 labs or something, you could just churn out lots and lots and lots. For what? At what cost? It'll cheapen the entire brand. And the brand is just, I don't even know if we have a brand at this point, but you put your business that you put so much like love and sweats and tears into for AI, like when you could just put your personal touch. Because at the end of the day, the reason why we want to put a human touch is people don't really buy from businesses. People buy from people. So if you could connect on that, like on that primal level through content, through good marketing, even paid ads, you start to win a lot more. Okay, now, I know this is super daunting, putting yourself out there. This is the one complaint or the one like pushback I normally get. I could come and rant to you about all the tips and tricks, how to do this, how to do that. The main pushback I'll ever receive is, well, I'm kind of scared to put myself out there, or what will people think, or there's a million different ways to do this. So my one advice to you is the easiest way. Once you get over that first hurdle, is find people who are kind of willing to be in front of the camera. You be in front of the camera, because you'll never find a better ambassador than yourself or than your key people. I recommend just put your face, just do it, right? It's going to be, you got to pay the cringe tax. It is what it is. But the people you're like scared of looking silly in front of, they ain't watching anyway. But there are people in this world, like there are people who will go out of their way to support you. And when you start to see that, it's the most, I know this because look at all you in the room here. Now, there are different things you can do. So one of my favorite creators in the Caribbean is anybody familiar with Sorvetti in Trinidad? She does ice cream. And she is viral. She is killing it. I think I've seen her 3 times over the last 3 years I've been following her. She does voiceovers, and she does really good voiceovers. That is an entire skill on its own that I would most certainly fail at. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of skill, and it's probably a lot slower to warm up to. So again, I think in my personal belief is the quickest way to build rapport with your audience is have someone that they could see and have someone they could build trust with over time. If you're the business owner, that's got to be you, because staff will always come and go. If you are a marketing manager in a larger organization, it could be you, it could be your marketing staff. It's not be all and end all to have the same face like over a while, but just having a face is what builds trust. Because otherwise, Again, it feels like an ad, and you know what we do to ads? Scroll. Now, you could do hands-on product only, again, with voiceovers. That is a skill I don't have. And you could do voiceover alone. Someone very successful with that is Professor Moore. Anybody familiar with Moore? Big content creator in Guyana. He's in some of his videos these days, but he's mostly he's a storyteller. And when you perfect the talent for storytelling, you could get away with certain things that I'll never be able to get away with. So again, if this is your first foray into content, my best advice is make sure that you're on there, make sure that someone you trust is on there, but we as an audience want to connect with real people. That's the cheat code. It's the easiest way to do it. We want to connect with the key people in the organization, because over time, you'll see the product out in the wild, right, in the supermarket. You're like, hey, that's Alex's thing, or that's Jessica's thing, or that's this person. You want to support, and we've built like an emotional attachment with a stranger we've never met. That is a leverage through the wazoo. That trust that you're building, you know how much that trust costs if you were to try and buy it? It's ridiculous. I can't even begin to fathom how many dollar dues that would cost. But you get it for free over time by building rapport and building trust. Now, this is how you build real influence. And influence, in Guyana, this term influence gets thrown around a lot. Like, he's an influencer. We have a lot of content creators in Guyana, and I want you guys to be content creators for your business. But the way that you truly build influence is by imparting advice, right? It starts with just giving little tidbits. So what I want you to do is give simple advice that they could action today. And it's something that I do every so often. I'll sprinkle it in. So let's say if you've got a dessert shop, I want you to say, hey, this is something you can make at home. And I see it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I will make it home. Maybe I don't, but maybe I will. And I make it. And you know what? It tastes good. I now trust you a little bit more, right? And then I go about my day. And then maybe I see your content, and maybe a little bit longer, a little bit down the road, you do another one. And I'm like, oh, this is good. This person knows what they're talking about. Or let's say we've got an insurance broker in the front here. She gives some insurance advice and says, hey, did you know that maybe go check your insurance coverage. Make sure, it's something that some of the companies sometimes miss. Maybe you're not fully covered. Again, that costs you nothing to say. It costs me nothing to go do, because I'll just go check the coverage I already have. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I am missing asteroid coverage, right? But, again, it doesn't actually directly benefit that person in that moment or your business. But what it does is you've given me a little piece of advice. I followed through on the advice. Turns out you were right. Now I trust you a little bit more, right? Does that make sense? And this could be applicable to any and all businesses. Some a little bit more, you gotta wiggle around, but that's how you build true, real influence, by imparting lots of little bits of advice, by giving value. Now, the whole point of this, the content creation, the hooks, the trust, is eventually you'll find exactly with the tire shop idea, whether it's a hotel, whether you're making desserts, whatever you're doing, literally anything. The whole point of the practice is you want them to be sold before they ever think they need to buy. That's what I mean by when I gave you the tire shop. I don't need a tire now. I actually got 5 good tires. 4.5. One's a space saver. But God forbid something happened. I'm stuck on the side of the road. Who am I going to call? It's the person that has imparted influence on me over the last year or so by just giving me little tidbits of information. Like if I had the tire shop, the little bits of advice I'd say is, hey, just check the age of your tire. It says the age right there. Did you know that the writing on the side means something? I'd be like, oh, I don't know. Before I even know that I need a tire or even think about it twice, I know that when I need a tire, I'm going to call that person. It's applicable to anything, to any business. Now, the tricky parts, the editing and publishing. It's not super technical. I've kept it super simple. I edit either on Premiere Pro, which is a paid platform, but there's a lot of free software on your computer. I've really divided into big screen activities and small screen activities. On my phone, the Edits app, it's phenomenal, right? Yeah. Now, the best thing about Edits is it's free. It's made by Instagram. And it allows you to export in 4K. You can up and down the quality. You can up and down the frame rate. Don't go to 60. It kind of just messes with your eyes. 30 is fine. And then What I would do though, and this sounds a little bit, this is how I would do it, because it's a beating around the bush. I'll edit in either Premiere or Edits first, and then I will send it to my phone and do this kind of silly step. There's a certain trick with posting videos and doing captions and all this, right? So we're not just posting content for the sake of it, we're trying to boost our business. Now, when I send it to my phone and I'll put it on TikTok first and I'll go into TikTok editor. I do this very specifically because I like the UX, the user experience, but most importantly, I'll do the captions in TikTok. Now, in the 2000s and probably 2010s, the greatest search engines on earth were Google, right? It's just da-da-da, type in, fine. And then in 2018, 2020, 2022, it's Instagram, it's YouTube, it's TikTok. Those are the greatest search engines. Now, when you add your captions and add as much enriched information, when you do it through edits or through TikTok, I just like TikTok, it indexes, right? So and to index, I mean like it gets submitted to Google. So that if you actually search any of these niche, mildly interesting topics I talk about, you know what pops up? My videos. It's one of the top searches on most things. We're trying to build a database. We're not making videos for fun. We're trying to build rapport and we're trying to build visibility for our businesses. This is a super important step because you want to be able, like that's why like I very actively will make sure that every video has captions because it is literally a document that gets sent. It comes up on the Google. If you AI search like in ChatGPT, it helps you, it contributes towards your search. It helps you get found. So even if you do a silly video that might get like, I don't know, 500 views and you're like, oh, this one kind of sucked. No, you've just submitted a piece of information that is going to be indexed by the greatest search engine on planet Earth. So eventually, if someone searches for something and your video answers it, guess what? You've just built a resource there that they could answer, and you've now positioned yourself as the authority because you've answered that question. Does that make sense, or did I get a little too technical there? Okay, so we're putting it through TikTok. We want to do captions in there because it helps us get found. It also has the added benefit when I send it on TikTok, it sends me an HD copy on my phone, and then I'll just send that to Instagram and Facebook and everything. Now, I know I just flippantly just did this, but one of my biggest mistakes that I see, I wouldn't even call it a mistake, it's more of a mild blunder. I try and help a lot of like smaller creators coming up, and I was just chatting to this guy, he makes great content. Young guy, and I noticed he wasn't on Facebook, and I was like, bro, like, you know, you're getting hundreds of thousands of views, but you're not on Facebook, what's going on? He's like, well, you know, I never really thought about it. Sir, do I have a revelation for you? When I first started doing content, I made the same mistakes, and I would only do TikTok, and then I was like, all right, let me just put it to Instagram, because I made it already. But if you've made it already, and I never posted to Facebook, but if you've made it already, you may as well distribute as much as humanly possible. Overnight, like almost overnight, when I started posting to Facebook as well, because you can automate it. Once you post to Instagram, it just says post to Facebook. Facebook in the first month did 100,000 views. I was like, damn. Second month, 200,000. Third month, the same content. I'd spent exactly zero extra effort. But because my distribution channel is bigger and Facebook in Guyana is just off the charts, it's now my biggest platform, and I was sleeping on it for the first 8 months. Right? So like, again, I think in the last 30 days, it's my biggest month so far. I've done maybe like 3.5 million views, and half easily is from Facebook. That again, a year ago, I just wasn't posting to because I was like, you have these distribution channels, build them. It takes like zero extra effort, just push it across. Make sense? What are we gonna do? Not sleep on extra distribution. Because that is literally the name of the game. That's what we're trying to achieve here. Now, just to sum it all up on this chapter, your content indexes, right? It gets found in search engines. It feeds search and it feeds AI answers. So, like I said, in the late 2010s, early 2020s, these video search engines, social media was the greatest search engines. Now, ChatGPT and them are trying to compete. But again, once you index on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, it comes up. Even LinkedIn. LinkedIn is actually one of the most slept on ones. There's a great example of, I saw on TikTok, someone posted that this is how you can really cheat the game. He posted an outlandish comment on LinkedIn saying that I am the leading expert in X, Y, and Z on LinkedIn, sorry. And then he waited 12 hours and he came back and he searched on Google, who is the leading expert in wherever country he was at? And his name popped up just because, again, that answer was indexed. So when you create content, it really gets indexed, and it gets indexed quickly. Virality is not the goal. It's visibility. It's over time. It's compounding, right? I'll get people who say, oh, my video only got like 1,000 views or whatever it is. It's 1,000 people. When's the last time you've been in a room with 1,000 people? When's the last time like 1,000 human beings have said a word that you have vocalized out in the universe? It is incredible. If you got 300 views, all right, it means that your videos need some fine-tuning and whatnot, but still 300 people heard you say something. There's supposed to be 82 in this room. It's probably like 60, but I mean, it's incredible. Look at how many people are here. Imagine 300. Virality is not the goal. The visibility is the goal. Now, what does this buy you? Good content gives you leverage. I'm not attacking anybody in this room, but who here was born into this world with, zero leverage? Like you weren't born with a big silver spoon. I mean, if you were, great. Hey, happy for you. That's leverage, right? You know how much land my family owns when I move back? Zero. I got zero leverage. But social media, once you get good at it, it gives you leverage. Like a lever is how you move things, and leverage is how you move people. You build an audience, you build trust, and then that way you can start to move things like you've never been able to move before. And anybody can do it. Now, in your first week, what I really want you guys to do is pick one thing that you already do daily. I don't want you to go out of your way. Something that you think even is a little bit, again, mildly interesting. I want you to film it badly, practice. I want you to post it everywhere. Oh, okay, maybe not post it everywhere. If this is your first run, what we're gonna do after this session is I'm gonna create a Facebook group. Everybody in attendance will be invited to it. If you wanna join, it's up to you. And I want you to be able to post your videos, and then we could all help each other. And I'll be very active in it. So we could say, hey, actually this, or hey, this is great, post it, right? I want this to be an ongoing community. And it's my commitment to make sure you've trusted me by coming today and spending your good hard-earned money, because there's real hard-earned money in this place, as we all know. I want to be able to help you going forward. Now, once you do that, I want you to do it again. And then I'm going to need you to do it again. All right? Promise? All right, good. Do not judge it at 10 videos. My first series of content that I ever did, horrendous. I actually removed them. It was so bad. I shame. I know I've been up here for 45 minutes telling you don't be ashamed, but geez, ashamed. Don't judge it. Keep going, all right? You learn from it. You watch, you see what works, what doesn't. I will actively go through and see, hey, that video did really well. People are obviously interested in boredom market. So I'll go talk to Big Auntie again, and we'll do another boredom market walkthrough. People weren't super interested in my Ninja Creamy series, so I'm going to quietly put that one to the side. You adapt, you grow, and you go from there, but you always have to be attentive to what's working and what's not, and moving, right? And if you see, like, let's say, again, if you're a tire shop and there's a lot of interest on, for whatever reason, how to balance a wheel, maybe do a couple more on that, just milk it a little bit, get more people in your funnel, and you go from there. It's all authority building. The whole point is to get seen, get trusted, get customers. It works every single day. I don't know, is Jay in the room? No, hasn't made it. Jay, there you go. We sat down. So guys, this is Jay from TriVault. You might recognize him from some of my videos. We're filming a video recently, and he's like, Alex, I gotta tell you something. I was not ready. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you're a professional, you're an expert in what you're doing. It's like, no, I wasn't ready for like the content we've been making, and we've only put out 2 so far. The amount of business that good content generates. And we didn't ever explicitly say you should hire Jay. We did the first video where he's like, hey, look, I did this roof. And it's pretty cool. And then the second video, we did one where he's like, look, these are bad jobs that we fixed. At no point did I ever say you should hire Jay. But we've created content. You know what we did? We exercised authority. We showed that, all right, Jay knows what he's doing. Jay's available. Jay's an expert. You build that authority. All right, that is the end of my first section. I will be joining you for the live workshop after Rawle does his expert presentation. Thank you all. Norman is up next, and he's going to give you the behind the scenes on how to tell stories and how to build a business with content. Oh, sorry, build your business with content. All right, thank you guys.
Norman is going to take it away, and I want you to make notes. You got your phone. Everybody got a phone in this room. Make notes in your phone. Even if you want to use a friend to chat and send the messages to that friend on what you're learning here today, because everything in here is gold. Everything that you learn today is going to help you in a personal capacity as well as a professional capacity. You own a business and you want to market your business, you want to promote your business, you got to learn the art of storytelling. But when you come to these events, before you sit in the room, when you're looking at the flyer, before you even buy the ticket, ask, am I ready for this event? Because I'm going to come, and if I'm not ready, I'm not going to take away anything. So, are you ready? Yes. Are you ready? Norman is ready.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ooh, all right. Thank you so much once again for coming here. It is an absolute privilege to be in a room with some remarkable people, because I'm looking here, I'm seeing people in like the top echelon of business, society, industry, people who are at the top of their game, and I'm just like, I'm just a guy who likes to make cool videos, you know? So, but that's the reason why you're here. You want to make cool videos like me, like Alex, like Professor Moore, like your favorite creators. And let me just tell you, you're in the right place to get that done. I know I'm supposed to be talking about storytelling that sells. Oh, by the way, Norman Gobin, if you didn't know me, now you know me. I started my career, or you would think I started my career making videos about food. I made a show called Big Bites. But really and truly, that was just the last 3 or 4 years of my life. I've been doing content creation since I was 18 years old. I started content creation before content creation was called content creation. Back then, it was called production. I worked in television, worked in radio, worked in news, worked at every level of the production process you can think about. So my journey as a content creator / influencer is just a culmination of all of those years of experience into this product that you see called Big Bites. And my belly can show for it too, so yeah. So, storytelling that sells. Set the ground rules. The secret ingredient is the story. Most of what I'll be telling you today, Alex already touched on it, and that's because that's just the reality of content creation. Everything you'll hear is almost the same thing, but just, you'll see what I mean. You'll see what I mean, right? How to create content people care about and build the business we're talking about. How many of you are, well, I know a lot of you have your businesses. How many of you are in the restaurant, food industry? Maybe you have a restaurant, you sell food products, something like that. Show, raise your hands. Okay, I see all my friends. Yeah, I see all my friends here. I would have done content with you guys already. Good. Most of what I'll be talking about, I will be referencing the restaurant industry, food, content creation. However, like in the first session with Alex, a lot of these can really lend itself to any business, any industry that you're in. Whether you're a business owner, whether you're working for a company, whether you're working for a small business, the concepts remain the same. So this is just a lot of reiteration, but you'll get to understand that there is no right way to do it. Now marketing is more accessible than ever. Everyone, the tools to be your own marketing person is available to you. You have all the social channels, you have a phone in your pocket, you have AI, it's available to you. However, that also is a problem. Attention is more fragmented than ever. Now, it's a fight for attention. Everyone has a phone, you have your screens, you're doom scrolling, you're scrolling. It's something new every day. Who here finds that we move on from things rather quickly these days than before, right? That's because attention now is very limited. And it's your job as a content creator to maximize that attention, your reach to capture that attention, even though as fleeting as it may be. Stop overthinking and start communicating. I'm talking to myself. I am a chronic overthinker. I started this being an overthinker. Today, I'm still an overthinker. However, you'll never get over that. You just got to learn how to manage it and work through the noise. There is no right way to make content. Ooh, yeah. There is none. I'm going to tell you something. You're not going to walk away from this session magically knowing how to make content, right? Different audiences respond to different styles. You got to find yours. But the fundamentals still matter. And Alex went through a whole long list of the fundamentals. I'm going to reiterate them as well. And this is a guide, not a guarantee. So here is the framework, right? You got to create. You got to observe. You got to learn, adjust, and repeat. I'll move on in how to really find your voice and your style in your content creation journey. When you create, you make your piece of content. You put it out there. You look at the engagement. Not just likes, not just shares, not just comments. You look at things like retention rate, drop off. You look at things like, okay, how are people generally responding to this, So you take that information, you learn from it, and you adjust your content. I know a lot of people, they have a tendency to stick to a style. That's okay. But my philosophy is, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, I'm sure you've heard this, expecting different results, then that's insanity, right? You gotta look at your content, learn from it, make adjustments, repeat. The next set of content might do well, but then you notice, ooh, it's climbing, dropping off. What can I do differently here? Okay? Learn. Principles to test, not rules that guarantee success, right? Everything you will learn from Power Session, not just from me, but from Alex and all the other presenters here, are guides. They're principles. It doesn't guarantee that you will be successful. However, it increases the odds. So, Alex said this in the last slide. Virality is not the goal, okay? Attention, reach the right people. Trust, give them a reason to believe you. Action, turn attention into visits and orders. And then you build loyalty. It's self-explanatory, but let me break it down. We love the attention, right? How many of you have ever put out a video and you get 100,000 views, a lot of shares, a lot of interactions, especially if you're a restaurant owner? Anyone here? Oh, well, that's why you're here, right? Okay, well, there's Rise at the back there too, Ryan, Hale. So, would you rather have 1 million views on a video or a video that may have 1,000 views but generates 100 new customers? The latter, right? That's very nice, right? 1 million views doesn't guarantee that you'll get 100 or 1 million new customers, because more than likely, we just reached 1 million people in Guyana just the other day, right? So your views are spread across different territories, and realistically, not a lot of them are going to visit your restaurant, visit your business, or buy your service, right? So even though you might be chasing the views, you want to hit as many people as possible, don't just look at the views, the likes, and the comments. Look, even if it's just 100 or 200 people that viewed it or liked it, that's still an audience, right? Alex said it correctly. There's about 70 people in here right now. Yet, it looks like a lot of people, right? I went to cricket the other day. There are well over what? Couple thousand people in that stadium. Imagine, and my worst video would get 6,000 views. My worst video. But imagine 6,000 people took the time, even if it was just for a couple seconds, to watch your video. That's a stadium full of people, right? A stadium full of people watch all the famous cricketers, right? Would watch a concert, would watch an artist. But they're watching you. By doing that, you build trust. Give them a reason to believe you. When you reach people, the primary goal is to build that trust. And the only way you can do that is by putting yourself out there. I know a lot of people have said that, but trust is the currency, and you gotta pay for it as well with your content. Action. Now the attention turns into visits and orders. Self-explanatory. I already talked about that. You get your customers, they come, they visit, even if it's once. But then a percentage of those people that might visit will become loyal customers. So if you get the 100 people to visit at least once, maybe 50 of them, that's a good conversion, right? Turn into loyal customers and will come again, and even recommend to other people to come as well. Yep, virality is a moment, loyalty is a relationship, and your content is about building relationships. Alex talked about leverage. Right now, Guyana is all right. Who here has heard in Guyana is who you know, right? That is how you get things done, right? When you make your content, everybody knows you. Life becomes significantly easy, right? It's just the truth, right? A lot of people, they look at influencers, and I'm gonna be as much of a, excuse my French, a dick about this point as much as I am. But this is just to let you realize is that they complain that influencers get all these attention, they get access to go certain places, do certain things. Why? Of course they do. They've earned that trust. They've put in the work. They've paid that penance. The cringe tax, all these taxes, we've paid it. So that there goes the reward is the trust. And of course you're going to get into the rooms. Of course you're going to get invited to the events. And the beautiful part about it is it could happen to anyone. Nobody owes you their attention. It stings a little bit, right? Effort does not guarantee attention. Production value is not the same as audience value. Earn the next second. The audience only knows whether the content was worth watching. Through my lengthy career, I've been humbled many, many times. Like I said, I have an experience in professional production, which means I have a professional media background. I've learned from some of the greats in the country. Anyone you know that it was big in media back in the 2000s, 2010s maybe, I've worked with them. I know the ins and outs, big camera, fancy lights. I've worked with people from Nickelodeon, Paramount, and all these people I've met, and I've worked with them. But none of that matters in content creation. None of that. The single most powerful piece of equipment, the most powerful tool you'll ever own is in your pocket. People don't care if you spend 10 hours on an edit and put it out there and I get 10 views. No one cares, right? No one cares that Alex went crawling through a cave and risked his life to get that. They're just gonna watch it and be like, oh yeah, this man is crazy, but you know. But damn, he did that, right? No one cares. They don't owe you it. You could work for 10 years trying to make the perfect piece of art, of video, put in all these hours of effort, only for it to flop. Happened to me many, many times, okay? Sometimes the simplest thing is the most effective, the simplest video. One of my most viral videos, I've had several viral videos, but I don't know if anyone here saw a video where I highlighted a Chinese noodle place in the Royal Mall. Anyone seen that video, came across that video? Okay, good. I was just there randomly one afternoon with my family. And then I went in there, I was like, damn, this dude's working them noodles. Damn, let me just take up my phone, make some quick thing. It was very rudimentary. Turn it on myself. I had nobody fulfill me, so I just turned it on myself. Yeah, turn thing. I had to ding it and whatever. Just put it together with a little voiceover. It got like close to a little over 500,000 views, just like that, you know? So, and that's across all platforms. And I've made videos, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it, where I'd have like a professional camera set up and all these angles, spend days scripting it out, make sure the shots are right, make sure the edit is right, the music is right. And it would get like, what, 10,000 views? So it really doesn't matter. And don't let anybody try to convince you that it does for what you're here for, right? Your content must give something. You've heard it many times throughout this panel so far. Information. It must give information. Emotion, entertainment, utility, and you got to ask yourself the question, what does the audience leave with? If it doesn't hit, if your content doesn't hit at least one of these things, then to me, it will not reach the people it needs to reach. If it hits all of them, it's even better, right? I made a piece of content one time where I highlighted a restaurant. This was years ago when I first started Big Bites. Highlighted a restaurant in Enterprise, you know. It was a bottom house restaurant. It was very quaint. Hardly anyone knew about it at the time, but everyone knows it now. You know Playland? Yeah. I was the first person to really put Playland on the map. The only reason why a lot of people know about it now is because of that one video, right? Over a million views, if I recall, across platforms, right? It provided the information where this restaurant is, you know, that kind of thing. It provided the emotion because the owner of the restaurant and chef, he built this from nothing, went all over the world. I told this story. We learned the craft even in Italy and stuff and came back to his village in Enterprise and decided to give back to the community by providing a meal. And I think he still has it at this price point. A burger with fries at $1,000. I got to confirm if he still has it at that price point. But he said, no matter how big or how bad the economy gets, he told me this, he is not changing that price because he believes everyone in his community deserves to eat something nice, right? And it's not just a regular burger, it's a proper burger, full meat and everything, right? Entertainment. What you find entertaining is very subjective, I feel. The content itself, in the process of providing you information and emotion, if you put in a little humor, inject a little things here and there, well, it's entertaining, right? And the utility, once you could use it, refer back to that piece of content, the directions, where it is, what to buy, what to order. You're using that content now as part of your own journey, okay? Now, this one might touch a nerve for a lot of people, right? Be the guide, not always the story. What do you think I mean by that? I've seen many people in content creation today, or people who want to call themselves influencers. Nothing is wrong with this. Totally fine. Everyone has their own niche. But I'm also seeing people who are trying to get started with content creation and step into this influencing sphere without properly understanding that when you're now stepping into the industry, you have to not make the content about you. A lot of people, how many times have you seen a video, somebody's like, hey guys, so today we're going to Atlantis over in, what's the place? Oh my God. You know what I'm talking about, right? Oh my God, guys, I just had the most amazing milkshake. Oh, yeah, we want to see the milkshake. We don't want to see you, right? We want to see what you're talking about. We want to see what you're experiencing. Oh my God, guys, I'm at this resort. It's amazing. I just love that the palm trees cover cover the entire canopy and make the shadow. And, you know, the guides are amazing. And we want to see the guides in action. We want to see the trees. We want to see the wind blowing through the trees. We want to see the experiences. We want to live in your shoes. You are the guide. You are the person who is taking your viewer on this journey. You are not that guy. Sorry. But some of you are, right? Some of you are. But for a lot of us who may not be as facially gifted, I'm joking, you have to give your audience something that is more than just yourself. Take them on the journey. Show them. And over time, they might gravitate to you personally as an individual. For me, most of my content was just about giving people something, giving them a place to go to, an experience to have, you know, something to feel. And to me, once I've done that, I've accomplished, even if it doesn't get a million views or a million likes, I've accomplished my task. Because a lot of people come up to me and they're like, oh, I've seen this video, yada, yada, yada. And it's like my worst performing video compared to everything else. And that brings it to another point. Don't compare. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself to yourself. Just do the job and do it, move on. The subject may be, for restaurants, the subject may be the food. It may be the chef. It may be the recipe, the restaurant, the customer, the culture, the community, the experience, okay? Touched all these. People may discover the story through you, but the story does not always have to be you. Authenticity in Guyana. Guyanese people could smell an ad. Alex talked about this. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but fake hype, forced language, misleading portions or missing prices, staged reactions, overpromising. Authenticity is polished truth, not promised action. Good. Alex touched on this. We have evolved to smell an ad. We've evolved to see ads. And I've been guilty of this many times, and sometimes I even fall into this trap. It's very easy to fall into it because for me, I grew up in an age of advertising, traditional advertising. And we try to make ourselves excited about things when we probably are not too excited about it. That's why for me, I try as much as possible when I'm working with brands or companies. I've turned down a lot of offers for this very reason, is that I want to genuinely like it and what I do. I'm not going to sell you something that I think is kind of trash, right? I grew up in a time in media when talking in your Guyanese Creole, when you talk like this, was a cardinal sin, right? If you talk in your native tongue, them man is tell you about what really you doing, right? So when I first started making content, I would try to sound as professional, as refined, as much as I could, right? I tried to, oh my God, guys, hey, how's it going? I tried to sound like Alex Powers, basically, right? But I realized that in order for my content to connect with my people, Guyanese people, because I'm in Guyana, I'm a Guyanese content creator, I'm making content for Guyanese, I need to speak my tongue. I need to speak the way a Guyanese person speaks. And I've learned over time. I went to a private school. The first thing they tell me was that, I come from Wales, by the way. I'm from Wales. I grew up in the countryside. So when I first went to a private school in tongue, the teacher beat my ass and said, why are you talking like this? The curriculum was an American curriculum as well. So I got the Creole beat out of me, literally. So for so many years, I thought having proper speech was the way to reach people. No. Speak to relate to people, connect with people, and language is the primary way to do that, okay? Don't force it. Be you. Speak the way you want to speak. The creator now that I admire the most I gotta say, is Miss, you know the auntie who does do cooking and traditional cooking? And I forgot her name. I know her. I met her many times and we connected. Davy, yeah, you did a video with her, right? She is a sweetheart. When I see her and I see how she has talked to you, when she's doing her recipes and she putting you through the process, it's like your Indian auntie when you go to a bottom house and they're making a little food for you, you know? And it provides a place of comfort. Who you're trying to reach, connect with them. Misleading portions or missing prices, okay? This can lend itself to many different things, right? For the restaurant industry, if you show a dish, if I show you a dish, and I got a piece of chicken, I got some rice, I got some macaroni on it, and then you get the same dish I tell you forget, and the macaroni missing, you're gonna feel like something around here, right? I gonna say this by Big Bites. He tell me for come here. I can't tell you the amount of times I've been cussed out, right? So, whatever you're selling, whatever you're trying to sell, whatever you're trying to show people that you do, make sure it's the same thing they're gonna get when they visit you, okay? Staged reactions. We're all guilty of this as content creators. We still do it, but it's how you stage it, right? You can't stage it in a way that it look obviously fake, right? It's an art in doing these things, and you'll only get it once you continue doing it. But if you're going to stage a reaction or stage something, try as best to do it as authentically as possible and realistically as possible. And over-promising, don't promise more than you can deliver. I did a video with a woman with a seafood boil. She has a seafood boil business. Anyone saw that one? Anyone saw a video on the seafood boil? The first thing I told her after we finished the video was that you're going to get a lot of calls. A lot of people are going to want your seafood boil. Do not promise them that they're going to get this seafood boil if you realistically cannot meet the demand. Okay? If you know that at this point you could only cater to 20 people a day, as soon as the first 20 people call you, cut it off, right? Next day, video gone out. Next day, 200,000 views. Buy me phone ringing off the hook. Is what going on here? You see what you do to me? I'm like, I told you, this is going to happen. Just make sure you stick to your quality till you can expand further, okay? Authenticity is polished truth, not polished fiction. Be as truthful and as real as you can be. Your content creates a promise. Content, what customers expect. Experience, what they actually receive. Reputation, what they tell everyone afterwards. Your social media is the front door before the front door. Does anyone understand what I mean by that? These days, people don't just turn up at a restaurant. They just don't turn up at a business. They either Google it, they either go on TikTok to see if they can find people that do it. They look at reviews. They look at what people are saying online. And what content you put out there creates a reasonable expectation. There are many times I've been to restaurants to showcase them. And I'm sure a lot of you in here have been to places I recommend, and your expectations were disappointed. You were disappointed in the service, maybe, in the offerings of the food. It happens, right? One thing I try to do when I go to review places, I try to tell the owners, tell the chef, tell the staff, you're going to get a lot of visitors. People are going to come. Please try to give them the same experience you gave me. Many times it doesn't happen, unfortunately, but that's just the reality of the industry we're in, right? You're not going to please everyone generally, but I think when you're putting content out there as a business owner, whether it be food, whether it be a service, whatever you're creating to show people that you can do, ensure that when they come to experience, they get what you actually put out there. Okay? They receive that expectation. that expectation is fulfilled. Because your reputation is on the line. If you go to a restaurant, I know many people go to restaurants and they would say they would never go back to the restaurant again. How many of you do that? If 1,000 people get the same experience that that one person who would never go back to your restaurant get, your business done. Okay? I will touch more on this coming up. Your content cannot outrun your reality. Content cannot sustainably hide bad service, long waits, inconsistent food, weak atmosphere, poor value, and misleading portions. Feedback loop. Listen, look for patterns, improve, show the improvement. Good. I've done restaurant reviews, as you know, many times. There have been places I've been to that are no longer in business. Do you know why that is? There was this one restaurant I went to. Mind you, I'm not in the business of making reviews that bring places down. Because everybody say, every place I go, the food tastes good, right? You've probably said it before, right? Be real. Food tastes good wherever I go. But what people don't see is that the places I go to and I have terrible service, I don't publish. But what I do is I talk to the owner, talk to the chef. I tell them, this is my experience. I'm not pleased with it. I think you can improve in these areas, XYZ. I went to one restaurant that's no longer in business. I went during a restaurant week. I'm not going to call names. They advertise that they serve Asian food. They serve Thai food, and it's authentic Thai food. I'm like, okay, great. I'm looking forward to this. Go to the restaurant. I order pad Thai. Has everyone here ever had pad Thai before? Had pad Thai? Okay. Pad Thai is a stinky dish, but it's one either you love it when you first have it, or you hate it and you probably won't have it again, or you grow to love it over time, right? It has a distinct flavor profile that you cannot call it anything else, right? If I have pad Thai and it tastes like fried rice, and you've had pad Thai before, what would you say? This is not pad Thai. So you cannot call it pad Thai, right? I've had drunken noodles. I was very disappointed. It's my favorite. That is my favorite Thai dish because it has a very distinct flavor profile. I go to the chef. I say, listen, I ordered this dish. Took very long to come. Your servers were kind of rude. And the food does not taste like what is advertised. But what you telling me, man? You wouldn't know what you're talking about on this. You feel you know all of this because you some content. Okay, no problem, no problem. I won't publish the video because I believe everyone deserves a chance to improve, right? These are the problems I've highlighted. Take with it what you may. If you choose to do something about it, good. If not, I'll come back again and see the changes you've made, and we'll go from there. All right, no problem, yes. The business shut down in 2 months after that, no longer in business. You cannot be too prideful when it comes to business. If people are telling you that something is wrong, take it into consideration, seriously, especially when it comes to food. Listen. Look for patterns. How many people are saying the same things? A lot. Okay, I may need to actually take it into consideration. Improve, and then show the improvement. And what I love about content is that you can be vulnerable. And I know that's hard for a lot of people. Is that in your content journey, you will have to show people the harsh realities of running a business, running a service, right? A story for a piece of content can be, this customer came in and hated our dish. So we're going to fix it. And you show the process of fixing the problem. People will trust you a lot more after you put out that piece of content. We are not perfect people. And people like to see when other people are not perfect. So show them you're just as human as they are. Every restaurant already has stories. Every business already has stories. Every person has a story. How the restaurant began, family recipes and traditions, the chef's background, regular customers. These are just ideas to get you guys thinking about where stories might be and where you can look. Challenges the business survived, daily staff and customer moments. I think a lot of people tend to look at content creation as just showing the good parts, but people want to see the messy parts too. People want to see your origins. Has anybody watched Spider-Man yet? Who watched Spider-Man, right? Good, nice. We are now at the 4th Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland, but the first 3 movies were about his origin. And we care now about Tom Holland as an actor, as his portrayal of Spider-Man. We care about this guy, his version of Spider-Man more now because we saw where he came from. People like to see your journey and where you come from, okay? Family recipes and traditions. These things are more about who you are as a person, your history, than they are about the actual recipes and the traditions, right? It's about letting people get to know you through your history. Chef's background, you can talk about the chef, you talk about their background. Regular customers, you highlight your people who support you. You talk about them. These are just ideas that I want you to start thinking about possibilities when you're creating content. Mistakes that became bestsellers. Challenges, I talked about that. Daily staff and customer moments. I enjoy watching the Grand Coastal social media. Anyone come across any Grand Coastal? I love what they're doing. They're one of the few restaurants that actually, to me, do the content game pretty good, right? They give you like fun. They focus on their staff. They focus on the people in service, and they make them seem human as well. Gives them a human touch. So think about all those things when you're creating content. There's never a short of things you can make content about in your business. Footage is not a story. I have a burger. Here's our burger. It's a burger, right? Story. We almost removed this burger until one of our customers started bringing a different friend every Friday to try it. That is the story. Situation, curiosity, experience, payoff, invitation, right? Take that, right? You create a situation, you create curiosity, you show the experience, then you give them a payoff. Remember Alex talked about beginning, middle, end? Well, this is a breakdown of that beginning, middle, end, right? You present the situation to people, that builds the curiosity. You give them a little bit more information to make their curiosity, make their appetite whet. Then you show the experience. Then ultimately you give a payoff at the end and an invitation, right? Stop, crave, trust, act. Stop. Why should they stop scrolling? Crave. Does the food or experience feel desirable? Trust. Does the content answer doubts? And act. What should the viewer do next? Your content needs to do all of these things. It needs to make the viewer stop. Give them a reason in the first 3 seconds to stop their doom scrolling, to spend time on your video, even if it's like for the next 5 seconds. Let them crave the food. Does the food or experience look desirable? Trust. Does the content answer any doubts someone might have? And then, what should the viewer do next? Should you give them an invitation to visit, and then a link to order? Who knows? Up to you and what your business is. Not every post needs all 4 equally, but it's good when it has it. People remember people. Alex touched on this. I'm just going to skim through it. Owner, chef, server, cashier, regular customer, supplier, kitchen team, People may forget your logo, but they remember the person who made the business feel human. Pretty self-explanatory, right? We talked about the human connection and how to make your content have that human touch, especially in an age of AI. Okay, this one I really wanted to get to. I really want to spend a little bit more time on this. Do not leave here trying to become me. Do not try to become Alex Power. Do not try to become Professor Moore. Do not try to become Sophie. Do not try to become Ryan. Do not try to become Wild Tales. Learn from the process. Do not copy the result. Okay? Study what other creators are doing, but do not become a weaker version of them. These principles we're imparting on you today is for you to find your style, to find who you are as a creator, okay? You have that ability. Fear things might be holding you back. What stops good content before it starts? Fear of judgment. Perfectionism. Oh God, that one just hurt me. That's just me. Discomfort with your face or voice. Comparison. Fear of low views, yes. Negative comments or saying the wrong thing. Oh my God. In this content creator journey, as Alex said, you gotta pay the cringe tax. You gotta look stupid every now and again. That's just the name of the game. That comes with the territory, right? In content, try not to be perfect all the time. It's okay, but try to get your facts straight too, all right? If you're not comfortable with your own face or voice, do it enough times that you start to become used to it. Because I guarantee you, what you're seeing or hearing with yourself, other people are not hearing that. For many years, I thought my voice was annoying. Probably is to some people. But I've grown to love it. I've grown to love my voice. I've grown to love my face. I've grown to love everything about myself. And that is okay. You guys need to learn to love yourselves too. Because why? Everyone in this room has something to give. Everyone is special in their own way. Make content to highlight that so people could see the same thing. The version of you that people know is not the version that everyone else knows. You know, everyone knows a different version of you. Comparison, do not compare yourself to other creators, other businesses, other people. Do not, and I'm guilty of this. I just look at what Alex is doing and I'm like, damn, I wish I thought of that. Or he just look at me sometimes, he's like, damn, I thought of that. I wish I thought of that, you know? I saw him go through the cave and I was like, damn, that's really cool. Would I do it? Hell no. But he did it. That's good for him, right? Do not compare. Everyone is on their own journey, and just experience the journey. Just go with it. Do the best you can do, all right? Because my audience is oftentimes not Alex's audience, and Alex's audience is not my audience. We have different audiences. There are many people in this country, in this world, that you can hit, and everyone is entitled to have their own people. Fear of low views, move on. If a video doesn't do well, learn from it, move on. That's it. That is a irrelevant fear. Don't be afraid of it. Negative comments or saying the wrong thing. Who here has been in a Guyanese comment section? It's a lovely place to be. My God, I love a Guyanese comment section. I'm being sarcastic. It's a cesspool. I hate it. But hey, everyone is entitled to their own opinions, their own views, whatever they're saying. You got to learn to blank all that noise out. It's noise. Look at the people who are supporting you. I often say the views, the likes, and the shares often outweigh the comments. If the comments outweigh those, then something wrong. You probably said something you probably shouldn't have. But look at who is supporting you rather than who is against you. All right? The goal is not to eliminate fear. It is to create while some fear is still present. You will never get over your insecurities. But you got to learn how to live with it and act despite them. Style is discovered through experimentation, okay? Create, observe, learn, adjust, repeat, okay? Test different formats and presenters. Review the response without making it personal. Keep what fits, and change what does not. What that says is it's okay to experiment, all right? It's okay to try different things. I started off with food content. I started off highlighting different places. But now that's not the only content I do. I showcase experiences. I showcase people. I sometimes just sit in my car and talk about a subject. More recently, with this MV Barima tragedy, I had to say something. I sat in my room, pointed the camera, and started talking. And anyone here saw that one? Okay, yeah. And sometimes those things are effective and people need to hear it, right? Just because you make one kind of content for your business doesn't mean you have to stick to that one type of content. It's okay to experiment. It's okay to try different things. People are going to say, oh, you copying this other creator. Social media is inherently about copying. It's okay to take inspiration from other creators. People are going to say, oh, he trying to be Alex because he there in the jungle, you feel use Alex. Or Alex, when he's go to a restaurant and say, you feel use big bites? You know? He's had that comment too, right? Every time, right? Nothing is stopping Alex from going to a restaurant and documenting his experience in the restaurant, right? Nothing is stopping you from showing people different aspects in different formats about your business, okay? Guys, here's what. I really wish I could stay to show you the rest of this presentation because I feel that there's still a lot of valuable things that I can impart on you in the content creator journey because realistically, it's easy, but at the same time, it's complex. All right, there's a lot you can learn from it. So what I want to do is just impart this, build something worth filming. Attention, trust, action, loyalty, right? Create, observe, learn, adjust, repeat. Remember those things, all right? You got to grab attention, build trust. They put actionable intent, and that builds loyalty, hopefully. You create, you observe, you learn, you adjust, and you repeat. Better content may create the first visit. Better food, service, and atmosphere create the second. Okay? Guys, I challenge you to continue your journey in content creation, if not for your business, for yourself too, because I feel that everyone can do it. This is a big space that not a lot of people are in, especially in Guyana. There are many resources online that you can just search, how do I make better content on TikTok? And 1 billion videos literally comes up, right? Learn as much as possible, not just from us, but have a hunger, have a drive to learn more. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully, we can do this again. All right.
All right, everybody. Martina Johnson.
I want everybody to stand up on your feet. You know what I don't like about doing events? They make the presenters stand and you sit. So today we'll do it different, right? All right. So as you stand, I want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes and think about that one restaurant where you visited and had a great experience. You love it, you will return, and you will tell your friends about it. Which restaurant comes to mind? And think of Guyana. I don't want you to tell me about your trips to New York and Morocco and whatnot, right? Which restaurant comes to mind? Now think about the dish that comes to mind. Not two, the one dish that comes to mind. Now open your eyes and take a seat. Whatever restaurant came to mind, whatever dish came to mind, everything was tied to the customer experience. It is not the building. It is how that business presents itself. It's how you feel about that business as we heard earlier, the front door before you got to the front door. It is how that customer service reached you touched your heart. Food was good. Great. That's the power of positioning. That business positioned itself in a way that it felt inviting. And when you went there, the experience was great. And so you go back, and when you go back, you take your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your children, your friends, and then they take other people. How businesses position themselves is because they have built trust. How many of you in this room think about your business the way you just thought about that restaurant and that dish? And how many of you in this room create that experience with that outcome in mind for your clients? I'm going to ask you to stand now. I know many of you are sitting next to somebody you know. Wrong move when you come to promote your business, right? You come into a room and you network with people. So I want you to stand, go to somebody and tell them about your business. You got 30 seconds. Up, everybody. Tell somebody that you don't know 30 seconds about your business. Hello. So you just met somebody new and you learned about their business. Are your customers speaking about you the way you just communicated to someone else in the room? Are you creating that experience with all the things you just told the person next to you and your customers talking to you about you that same way? How many of you in your exchange just now gave somebody a business card? You're ahead of the game, stay ahead of the class, right? Don't go anywhere without being branded, right? I go with my branding. This is my pin. My water bottles are all branded IMC. And I go branded. I don't go without cards. I always have cards with me. You could catch me anywhere, and I always have cards with me. Because apart from your online presence, you have to build a person-to-person presence, right? And as our good friends before me said, not every video will convert. When we talk about online branding and promotion, conversion is the biggest part. It can go viral and not one person comes to your store. So are you ready? Glad you're ready. What are you ready for? Growth. How do you get growth? Think about it. You have a business and someone else in this room has the same thing, but they are selling out and you are struggling. I'll use a typical example, mitai. See some mitais outside Malia's Kitchen? Where's Malia's Kitchen? Any rep in the room? Excellent. Now there are people outside selling mitai in a plastic bag. Decades, Granny selling mitai since I'm this and I'm in my 40s and Granny can't go past burning the plastic bag with the candle. No, sir, mosquito coil. I talking about way back, right? But Malia's Kitchen has now packaged it beautifully. It's going to the international markets because of positioning, right? But that positioning doesn't happen overnight. It comes with thinking, alignment, opportunities, and willingness to take risks. That's where public relations, marketing, advertising, online digital marketing, all those things come in, right? It is not because people don't always buy it because it's a better product, because Granny Mitai tastes good. Malia's Kitchen tastes the same, but it's the presentation and the experience and the value that they put on it and the trust in the longevity of it in this packaging, how beautiful the packaging is, and then you read it back, it's some kind of environmental friendly packaging. All those things create the customer experience. So why is the customer experience important? Conversion. They're going to bring you, and you. They're going to bring people to your product or service. And this goes now to the foundation of marketing versus PR versus positioning. All of it is important to your business. If you do one, you're going to fail. If you do two, you may fail a little less hard. But if you do all three, I'm not going to say you're guaranteed success 100%, but you'll perform better. Because a lot of times we're selling the right products, but in the wrong market. So even that you have to understand, right? Now, I've done my slides. You'll see a lot of notes on it. The reason for that is I want you to take photos of it. We will get in the group, you'll get a copy of it. But take a photo of it. And I say that, you know why? We always go into our phones for photos. But somebody send you a PowerPoint via email or a Facebook group, and everybody talking in that group, you ain't gonna see it again. So what is important in what you're doing? Let's talk online marketing. Alex mentioned that he's talking about the snakes, but he never tell anybody come to the show. But he was marketing. He was marketing the product, the event, but it was done in such a way that it was experiential marketing. Every time you market your product or your service, make it experiential. Meaning, have somebody or even yourself experience it and tell the story. How many companies in this room have money set aside for advertising, marketing, and PR? How many of you? The rest of you are killing your business. You want to grow, but you don't want to spend. You may spend $100,000 a month on advertising, but it brings $300,000 a week in business. Do not ignore your marketing spend. If you don't market, you don't bring business. And if you think you can do it all yourself, you can't. Because first you have to build the trust, and you have to build the audience. Use the people who already have the trust and the audience. Because your audience is your friends and your family on your Facebook and your Instagram, liking your pictures and you're feeling nice. But they don't buy your product. They don't buy your product. How many of you in this room have consistent family members who consistently come to you and buy your product or service? Let me see your hands. So you see why going on your own Facebook page makes no sense, right? I engaged Alex last year for one of my clients. Yeah, I could do it myself, but I don't. I'm behind the scenes. I'm the brain, the strategy. And I bring the people like Alex to do the outside work. And we were experiencing a lot of fraud every December or scams and targets through MMG accounts. MMG is one of my clients. And I said, Alex has a good audience. He's doing this, he's doing that. Let me see who his customer profile fits and if it fits us. And when we engaged him, December was the third lowest month for scam attacks for MMG. It was always the highest. So that conversion worked in our favor, and we continue our partnership. So when you're looking for a brand ambassador or a spokesperson, think about if they fit your brand. What's your customer profile and what's theirs? Is there a gel? Does it match? Is it going to help or is it going to hurt? Don't just say, well, you know, John is popular in social media. Let me hire John. He got 300,000 people. But you're advertising sanitary pads. What the hell does John know about sanitary pads? Right? Your product and customer profile must match the influencers who you choose. Even though you may have influencers who will do a range of things, they still have a customer profile. And you will be able to gauge it from the conversions that they bring to your business. So marketing will tell you, I have this product. It drives awareness. Public relations will bring the credibility to your business, how you relate with people. And the positioning is where you occupy my mind. And when I say just do it, what do you think of? All right. because Nike has occupied a space in your mind. And when I talk about Nike, what do you think of? Sneakers, right? But Nike makes a range of things. Belts, caps, watches, sunglasses, you name it, they make it. But you think sports, you think sneakers, because they have positioned themselves as the leader in the industry for sneakers. How have you positioned yourself? What are you leading? What is your business leading? And what do people think about your business? When we started, I asked you to think about the restaurant, the food, the dish, and what makes you return. And then I asked you to tell somebody about your business. And then I asked you, are your customers saying the same thing about you? One of the bigger parts of PR is, are your employees saying the same thing about you? You can have a great product, a great service, a beautiful building, but your employees are not treated well. Your employees are among your first ambassadors. So if you're doing PR, you're doing marketing, and you want to position yourself, another part of the equation is how you treat your employees. Do you recognize them for their birthdays? Those days matter to them. Get a calendar now and get everybody's birthday. And you put them up on your Facebook page, and you give them an extra $200 or the day off, and you celebrate. It's important that your employees feel valued. Somebody's kid is about to get CXC results. CXC, oh God, I'm giving out my age, CSEC. Somebody's child in your employ about to get CSEC results. What are you going to do? How are you marketing, doing public relations, and positioning within your organization? The other thing you also have to do is when you hire these influencers, bring them in-house to give you feedback. Don't just let them run and, let them give you feedback. Sophia Dolphin, another person who suits our customer profile at MMG. Single mom, has her own business, working, established in the community. 67% of the people who use MMG are women. So she's the ideal candidate. And almost every day I get 10 to 15 messages from her with people saying, I want MMG. As soon as I see Sophia pop up, I know somebody wants MMG. I know somebody needs help with it. But when you think about the value and the relationships that you build with influencers, are they bringing business to you? Can you measure if they're bringing business to you? Because you can have a relationship, but you can't measure. So put systems in place to measure. When you post something online, are you measuring the conversion? How are you measuring the conversion? And if you're not measuring the conversion, I want you to start working on measuring the conversion. Because when you start to measure the conversion of all that Alex is doing, you're seeing he's bringing 300 new customers to you every week. So it's working. We keep him. People are like, oh, I already spent $300,000 with Alex. And no, Alex just prevented about 900 fraud, which would have cost you $6 million. How hard is it to pay $300,000? You just saved the $6 million. Why are you counting his dollars and not yours? Right? I worked in marketing many years ago. I brought the first master's program to Guyana with the Nations University, and I was the marketing manager trained by the Australian Institute of Business. And then somebody felt like what the $100 per student that she was getting, and it's 25 persons in a class, 2,500 US is too much money. Let's just give her a salary. And so you take away the motivation from your influencer, and they'll give you bare minimum. Say again, bare minimum. Right? And that is not what you want. Stop counting people's money and count your own. All right? People don't always buy what is the best out there. They buy what they trust. And if they trust the influencer that you have, you could go and find John, who's $10 less because you're trying to save the $10. But John brings no business. There's no conversion. you really didn't save $10. You actually lost because you didn't bring business, right? So people buy what they trust. So you have to build those relationships to ensure that there is trust. Now, people always talk about Apple and Samsung. I'm Samsung, by the way. I didn't like what you said about Samsung earlier. I have both Apple and Samsung phones, but you'd never see me with my Apple phone in my hand. I don't know why. I don't know. Anyway, so let's talk reputation. You need a lawyer for your business. You're in some kind of trouble. How do you choose a lawyer? How do you choose a lawyer? Reputation. But how do you know the reputation of that lawyer? Word of mouth, past cases. Do you look him up? Do you look her up? You know nothing about law, so you look it up. And it's the same thing that happens when you are promoting your business and somebody wants your service. We're not going to say, oh, go to the cheapest store. People don't, it doesn't come to mind first saying, go to the cheapest store. What comes to mind first is value, reputation, trust. And you have to build those things because you want people, you want to be the front door before they get to the front door. You want to be the thing that they think about first before they actually get there. Because if they don't think about you, they're not going to promote you. And if they don't promote you, then you don't get more customers. Somebody is promoting your business today or not promoting your business today. So what are you feeding them online? You don't respond to your messages. You have a messenger telling people message you or WhatsApp you, and you don't respond. Or you don't put price. Listen, y'all in this room, if y'all don't put price to y'all products, understand that I'm one of the people who will not go through anything further on your page. I must be desperate for it. And only then I'll reach out. And if you don't respond quickly, even when you respond the next day, I will not respond to you. Because by then, I'm already turned off. Because I know how you're going to treat me. Because people don't buy products. What people buy is confidence. Confidence about your business, about your service, about the quality, and about how you make them feel. A couple of weeks ago, somebody recommended me to do the opening of their spa. And the person doesn't know me, who I was recommended to. And she looked at my Facebook page and she told the person who recommended me, nah, I don't think I can afford her. She looks expensive. Who said that? Let me tell you something. This is me. Wherever I go, I'm always dressed well, according to my standards. That person is not my client. Do not bend to suit the audience you're not targeting. Because this is my price. My price, my suit comes at a cost. My shoes come at a cost. My time here comes at a cost. And everything comes at a cost. And if everybody just wants you for free, you aren't doing any business. Someone else also recommended me to speak at an event. Person looked at my Facebook page and said, boy, she can look good for me business. This is a guy. Because he's like, yeah, she looks good, she's dressed well, and it will resonate with people. Even though my business is a little mom and pop shop, she will at least give it some kind of, right? So think about how you choose people as well as your influencers. How do they present themselves? Do they look like they represent your business, your brand, what you're selling? I mean, you're selling food and somebody comes without a hairnet and they serve you, they just take the money and they push it in the pocket and then they're gonna handle the burger with it. Think about how they present themselves because people buy confidence, not products. So I did this AI thing here last night and I sent it to Alex with all of us. And guess what? Look what Big Bite's wearing. AI, you know, AI. I created this with AI. He got on the same outfit. He only missing the handkerchief. No, that's what I'm saying. I created with AI and I told AI what to do. I took like 6 pictures from his Facebook and I'm like, do this. And this is what AI, these people, we were not posed together. But I did this to show you that as much as people criticize AI, use it. I ain't say kill people death by AI. But use the tool, learn how to use the tool, because every single thing that we are using right now, technology, is some form of AI. Of course, you can get something better than this. This was literally the first go that they provided. Use the tools because you want to work, wow, smart and not. There's only a couple people in this room know this thing. Work smart and not hard. So if you're promoting your business online, Alex is your influencer, and you just tell everybody about your horse racing, and Big Bites just tell everybody about the food, and then we call you to order, and you don't answer your phone. We want lunch, we hungry, and you don't solve our problem. You said you could give us 100 soups in 1 hour, and we order it, and we have all these children waiting for 1 hour, and there's no soup. You gotta answer your phone, you gotta solve my problem, and you gotta stand behind what you promise. Because if you don't, you will not be in business next year. If you do, you will be in business next year. And if you're in business next year without doing all of this, you're robbing yourself of profits, more money, growth, right? So these are the things that you need to do. You have an online presence, answer the phone, answer the messenger, answer the comment, and if it's a derogatory comment, don't abuse the people in the comment section, because you are killing your business. Hide the comment, that's all. Just hide it. You don't have to delete it, just hide it. When you delete it, the number of comments will go down. But when you hide it, it will show you got 23 comments, but we could only see 22, but who's counting? Right? So hide the comments, it's fine. And don't be telling the people about their mother and their father and how they're born, because I'm seeing businesses doing that. I saw it up to this morning, and it's ruining your reputation. So think about the relationship you build, the reputation you're building, and the confidence with which you do it. Johnson & Johnson, Tylenol, do you guys remember when they, Tylenol, I don't know if you remember, some of y'all ain't born yet. 1982, when Tylenol got mixed with cyanide, and people died. Johnson & Johnson immediately recalled everything. They didn't even care if it was in one state that had the problem. They recalled all the Tylenol, they acknowledged their mistake, and they started improving their packaging and their public safety messaging and how to use this. And since they did that, every company is doing something that they have set the stage for. Have you noticed now if you go, they talk about Pepto-Bismol and they say, don't drink it if you have XYZ, you'll end up stomach burn, this, that. Tylenol started that trend. And to this day, while they did not invent safety, every business is doing the same thing. What are people copying and mimicking from you? What are you leading in? What do you want people to leave your business saying about you? So the crisis was not what built the trust. The crisis, cost them a lot of money. What built the trust was their response. So if you have a bad online response from your customers or somebody who's not even a customer, but somebody told them, because people who come with this cousin say story, we have that a lot here. How do you respond? Your response builds or kills trust. Trust is something that is earned before the crisis happens, or how you respond after the crisis happens. Because you can have the trust before the crisis, and then your response is poor, and the trust is dead. Trust is like a piece of paper when you crumple it up, right? it's not going to get back smooth. You got to throw it away. You have to build it from scratch. You need a new leaf. So what is positioning? Positioning is Nike, right? You want a pair of sneakers for sports, for walking in the park? Nike. Nike in your head. Day and night, Nike in your head. Trust is built on that. How you position your brand. Nike is reliable. When you run in the park, the sole will not fall out. You're not going to get corns in the back of your foot. It's trustworthy. It says this is what it does. That's what it does. It solves my problem. A comfortable pair of sneakers that, as an athlete, I need to be sure that it'll work. It's innovative. I mean, who else was making sneakers with air vents at the time when Nike started doing it? Breathable sneakers. Nobody else, right? So innovation, it brought something different. It looked different. It felt different. Same thing about Coca-Cola and Toyota and Samsung and Apple. They have positioned themselves to occupy a space in your mind. Why do you choose Apple over Samsung? It's elite, it's secure, because that's how they have positioned themselves. And how are you positioning yourself online, in the room, and in face-to-face conversations to build that trust, to occupy the space in people's mind? Volvo? I think only the men can answer this. We don't know anything about cars. We could see any car and call it a Volvo. We women, most of us. When you think about Volvo, what comes to mind? Safe. I tell you, only the men in the room will know this. Safety and strength. I predicted that one. Because all manufacturers are producing vehicles that got the same things that Volvo has. It doesn't have an extra rear view mirror. It doesn't have extra wipers. It doesn't have extra seats. It doesn't have anything that nobody else has. But it has positioned itself as the leader in safety. Again, how are you positioning your business for people to think about it? When you think of telecommunications and you want a phone and you want to go get data and service, which network comes to mind? Y'all could answer. GT&T, but GT&T don't exist anymore, right? It's One Communications. But do you know why it comes to mind? Do you know why it comes to mind? Why does it come to mind? It's been there the longest. So it has built trust. You feel like you own it. You feel like you're part of it. It has built and earned loyalty. But how many of you complain about the service? You see what I'm talking about? But it has built loyalty and earned your trust because it's been here the longest. When everybody else came, they cut and run after 10 years. But they have stuck it out. And that is why people remain loyal to the brand. So what loyalty are you creating and what goodwill are you creating in your online presence to make people choose you? I'm going to come to something else, which is this. I started with think about a meal. When I ask you to think about a luxury hotel, what comes to mind? Marriott. When I ask you to think about coffee, which brand comes to mind? When I ask you to think about a courier service, what comes to mind? And everybody's saying the same thing. When I ask you to talk about insurance, what comes to mind? Do you know why you're all saying the same thing? Because these brands occupy a space in your mind. Y'all told me about the insurance company that comes to mind, but how many of y'all insured with the company? But you will promote it although you don't have it. Is your business occupying people's mind? And if it's occupying people's mind, is it for something good or is it for something bad? Is it building loyalty or a brand ambassador who turned on you, right? So years of positioning is why you think of these brands. They sell themselves as these things, and you are subconsciously hearing it, and you've bought into it without realizing it until today. Your reputation is speaking even when you are silent. And I want to touch on the MV Bereavement tragedy for a moment, because imagine if, when it happened, everybody had remained silent. What would you be thinking about those in authority? Probably the same thing you're thinking even though they spoke, right? Because the way they spoke wasn't excellent crisis management. But their silence could have given you that same message. Some people say, don't say anything, it will disappear, but it doesn't. In this day and age of the internet, nothing disappears. You go back and delete something that you had 5 years ago on Facebook, run for president tomorrow and see what's going to happen. Somebody has it screenshot somewhere in their phone, waiting for this day because they probably knew it would have happened. So your reputation is speaking even when it is silent. I'm not going to go through this United Airlines experience. Check it up. There was a case study on what happened on the flight with the passenger and the reputational damage and how staff handled it. It was horrible. How they responded, horrible too. Every review that is being put out there about your brand or being said in a room about your brand matters. Every Facebook comment, every employee, every invoice says something about your brand. And you might be wondering why an invoice says something about your brand if you got no invoices to write. You understand what I'm saying? Every proposal, every customer experience, they're all communicating your brand. And you have to ensure that whatever is being communicated about your brand is a situation or a conversation that you control. Sponsorship. You all think that branding is about doing PR and marketing and being on social media, but it's also about sponsorship. What are you aligning with? I've never been in a room where somebody comes to sponsorship and the CEO says, who needs my money? They ask, what value are we adding to society? Who's benefiting? And how are we benefiting? So you can write a beautiful proposal, but it doesn't align with what the company wants, and you will not get the sponsorship. Again, don't think about the one begging for sponsorship. Think about you're the CEO. What are you sponsoring? What are you aligning with? And how is it benefiting your company? How are people viewing your company, and what are they saying about your company when you sponsor something? Sponsorship is about which partnership delivers the greatest value. So I might want to sponsor this event to give entrepreneurs an opportunity to learn and earn. But what value is it to me? Oh, I do PR. I hope all of y'all in here come to me for PR. That's what they look at. Are you going to come and take my service, or are you going to sell my service? Some of the things that you need to build: visibility. And when you build that visibility, you need to tie it into being credible. You need to tie it into being consistent. You need to tie it into building relationships. But when you build those relationships, how do you keep them? By maintaining a good reputation. Please notice that I ain't say anything about followers. Because you could have 27,000 followers, but 2 clients. So, are you ready? You're ready. See? You're getting more and more ready. Visibility will get you attention and nothing else. Everybody will see you. Credibility builds trust. Consistency will build the reputation. And the reputation will create the opportunity. I have a reputation for doing X. Alex will recommend me to somebody who needs X. And then that person will recommend me to somebody else who needs X. That's where the opportunity is created. And as I mentioned, I'll be recommended along the chain, and it creates growth. So you could take a picture, that's fine. This is the reputation equation. And the 5 things that you get out of it, but you cannot miss one. If you miss one, the equation is incomplete. And as I wind down, I want you to understand that what PR and marketing and advertising do for your business. It earns you trust, it earns you money, it earns you customers, it earns you a good reputation, and it earns belief. If people don't believe in you, they won't use you again, they won't call you again, they wouldn't recommend you. And that is why I say to people that every marketing and advertising campaign is best when it's connected to public relations. How you make people feel, how you treat people, what is the UX, the user experience. Make your marketing and advertising experiential. You're relating to the public. I see Alex climbing through a cave. I message him, I'm like, hell no, not me. But if anybody wants to go through a cave, Alex will tell you where to find it, right? But not me, I'm claustrophobic. I ain't selling that, right? Alex is the man to sell that. And as we heard from Big Bites, don't try to be him. Be you. When you wake up every day, do you think about, if I call the media, what story they're going to tell about my business? You don't. But you need to start thinking about that, because that is the only time when you will start creating stories relatable to people that they want to hear. When my clients ask me to send out a press release, I look at it and I ask myself, who cares? When I read it, if I can't answer who cares, I will send it back and I'll say, I need this, and that information to add who cares. Because when you add who cares and you can identify who cares, only then will people buy it. Because if nobody cares, they're just going to flip the page, they're just going to scroll, and they're not going to pause on your product. They're not going to like it, share it, convert it, or anything. They'll just scroll through. So, if a journalist calls you today, I want you to think about this. When you leave this room, if a journalist calls you today, do you have a story worth telling? And if you don't, start thinking about it. Your story could be how your business was birthed. You know, grandma used to do this, grandma inspired you. There's a woman who's now cutting vegetables and selling. Used to sell at one Massey store, and now she's in all branches. Massey is my client too, and I love the way they're supporting the local market. Do you have a product that you haven't yet told Massey about? You're in Massey. Do you have a product that you haven't been telling them about? They are so open to local made products, and you're sitting on business. The woman just started cutting vegetables and selling to family and friends. Somebody saw it and was like, why don't you go to Massey? Because I noticed they take over Giftland Mall and they don't have cut vegetables anymore. Boom, a business was born. And then all the branches want it. So, whether you're cutting vegetables, you're tasting soup, you're crawling through caves, or you're standing in front of a room doing PR, but you're working behind the scenes otherwise, what's the story? Find the story of your brand and start telling it online. And if you can't tell it, there are influencers for that. How many influencers in this room? You might not call yourself an influencer, but if we look at the basic definition of it, you're influencing people, you're influencing behavior. So in that context, how many of you in this room consider yourself an influencer online? So none of you make a post on Facebook that you want a reaction out of. None of you make a post on Facebook that you want people to share. None of you make a post on Facebook with your opinion that you want people to value. So I'm going to ask the question again. How many people in this room is an influencer? We all are. So how are you influencing people to support your business? Now, there may be people like Alex that got 60,000 people on his page and 1.5 million views a month. You're not getting that, but you got to start somewhere. And if you know you have influence with 2, 4, 6, 8, 40 people, be careful about the footprint that you leave. It will either hurt or help your business. And I know you don't want it to hurt your business. When was the last time you saw a local business featured in the news? It happens every day. I saw Malia's in the news before. Demerara Bank, they launched something. Banks DIH, they had a campaign supporting local. Ride Along, it's an environmentally friendly business that creates and promotes health and well-being. And then somebody else selling vegetables to Bounty, a single mom of 8, lost her husband recently, and now. So how are you selling to the media? Where's your story? Why is your story not in here? How many of you had a business featured in the news before? And why the rest of you don't? Think about it. Find your story and start telling your story. Now, by the show of hands, I couldn't really tell. So stand up. How many of you had a business featured in the news before? Stand up. That is less than half of the people in here. Sit. How many of you in this room had an influencer come to your business and do a storytelling and experiential reporting or marketing? Stand. Again, it's less than half of the people in the room. Kindly sit. There's a good exercise to those who those who got all good exercise, because we got more. How many of you in this room have a marketing, advertising, and PR budget? Less than half of the people in this room, but you have a business. How are you selling your business if you don't market, advertise, or even have a budget for it? Right? So are you now reflecting on what you're doing to your business? Think about it. If you don't market, you don't sell. If you don't sell, you don't grow. And if you don't grow, you close. There's the 5 steps to failure. Right? So you got to start doing this for your business. So people want to know, can we trust you? Can I trust you? Can I refer people to you and they trust you? Do our values align? I mean, if you tell me you're selling chicken and then you're frying pork in the same chicken oil and you're taking it, but you tell me you're selling chicken and I don't eat pork. So why am I getting chicken fried in pork oil? Right? Can I trust you? Can I trust you with my health, my well-being, my diet? Can you deliver? And will this partnership strengthen your reputation? And we talked about Nike throughout, so I'm not going to touch on Nike. And then I asked you earlier to think about a business that you admire. So this last slide on PR and positioning, visibility, credibility, reputation, and preference. Because everybody can have these 5, but do they prefer me? And you want to be the preference, right? You don't want to be the side chick. You want to be the wife, right? Good. And advocacy. Will people recommend you? Y'all laughing. That one hit a nerve. Will people recommend you without being asked? And if this is not where you are today, you got a lot of work to do. So I want to say thank you. And before I end, I want to make you all do one last exercise. Stand. This might be a real physical exercise. Who got my ready? Who got my octopus? I hope that you are. Don't trust me to play cricket. Now, I chose this because this could be your business. You see that? There's a frown. Not every day is going to be great, but you have to take action to flip the script, right? You have to take action to flip the script. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready? Yes. Are you ready? Yes. On the left, are you ready? Yes. On the right, are you ready? Yes. What are you ready for? Find that word if you're ready for growth, action, success, business, opportunities, marketing, reputation building. Are you ready? Yes. Thank you very much.
When Rawle is done, we're going to do a live workshop. I'll come back on again. We'll probably do 20, 25 minutes. I'll work with you guys and liaise and try and give you real ideas right in the moment of how I would create content for your businesses. And we'll workshop it together. Anyway, for now, this is Rawle Dundas.
What a day, what a morning. A lot of information that I consider BS. Better standards, better standards, better standards. No, don't go thinking what you want to think. Whenever I present, I try to get into your heads. I want you to understand that where we're going as a nation, as a people, is towards better standards. Too much time, we have the actual BS. But no, what is being done today, and thank you, Alex, for the opportunity, is to push us in another direction. A lot of us here look at the wide cross-section of persons. Either have your own business, or you're growing a business, or you have an intention. So today we're going to be asking questions, my short time, and giving answers where possible. Is that all right? So the first question is, and I have to remember to use my slide. Yeah, so Alex did some work on my slides. I love icons. So on the first slide, I had a picture of some tablets, I had a picture of some weights, and I had a picture of a box of matches. So the question is, what are you going to do with these things? What are you going to do with the content you've gotten today? And I want you to make it personal. That's why I have not just marketing yourself, but marketing myself because I can. And you've been given a lot of information. What are you going to do with this information at the end of the day? Do you believe it's possible? Do you believe that you can change where you are, change yourself, change your image, and move to another level that allows persons to come to you and to ultimately build your business? I'm not going to tell you about me. Hopefully, I've done enough marketing of myself over the years, and hopefully I can take some of the tips given and even become an influencer. I don't think there's anyone in the 60s yet being an influencer. All of them look young and nice and chic. We need a gray-haired guy who can come and make a difference with the products that you have, right? So we can talk a little later on? Okay, let's go. So why did I come? Someone told you to come. It's a good idea. You're just supporting Alex. You had some money to spend, but you came with an intention to receive stuff. That's not so. Oftentimes we have poor intentions. We come because we want to see what they can do and what they got to say and maybe copy or criticize. But I believe in good intentions. Each one of us is born with an innate desire to do excellence, an innate desire to make a difference and to be better. But too many times we don't actually do it. We just come into a room because. But you have, and I believe in saying to you, and I want you to accept my words. I'm very careful with the words I use and statements, that you have good intentions. Don't worry what other persons say and what they might have said in the past, but I believe you have good intentions. I believe, too, that you are curious. You're wondering. You want to learn something new. I do personal development training, and one of the books I deal with is the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And one of the laws of growth is the law of curiosity. We're all born with a desire, a question, something else we want to do. As you're growing up, we always ask, are we there yet? Why this? Why that? Isn't that so? Questions we ask even as we get older. So being curious is not a bad thing. It also brings out our creativity. Sometimes you have an idea, and then we think, no, that's not going to work for me, or somebody doing it already. But if the idea comes to you, it is your idea. Napoleon Hill said in his book, Think and Grow Rich, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, you can achieve it. Do you believe that? I'm going to say it again to make sure that you sound like you believe it, because it's not like you believe it. Whatever the mind of man, whatever you can conceive, whatever thought comes to your head, If you believe it, it is possible that you can do it. So that's why I came after everybody else, because I'm trying to bring things together to help you to understand that this is nothing that's far-fetched and not possible and this is not the right time for me. It is possible. The fact that you're in the room, the fact that you have creative ideas, because you have intentions, now the next step is, now what am I going to do with this stuff? And if I'm telling you what Napoleon Hill said based on facts and experiences, then you should accept it. So those amazing ideas that have come to your head, if you believe it's possible, you can actually achieve it. The thing about it is, what will you do with the information that has come to you? Are you going to just write it down, take notes, take pictures? Yes, you're doing that. That's wonderful. I've been to events where I've taken pictures. You too, right? And didn't do anything with the information utilized. But it's there in my head, so it's going to come out eventually. So will you do that thing that you intended to do? You spent money. This is an investment. So you're not going to just leave it saying, well, it was good, it was nice, it was all right. No, it was something that came to me that I can make a difference with. How many of you want to grow yourselves? There you go. How many of you want to grow your business? Here's the next one. How many of you want to make a difference in Guyana? Oh, nice. Seriously? Okay. All right, so we got to do something about it, right? Too many times, as you were saying, we sit in the background, we don't say anything because we don't want persons to judge us. But we can make a difference if we add our voice to their voice, to her voice, to his voice, and together we can make a difference. So what else will you need? A lot of tools today. Everything is available online. I talk often about my young adult children. When you ask them questions, when you asked me a question when I was a little kid, I go, oh, I'm not sure, Mom. Let me go and check, or when I go home, I'll go check the Encyclopedia Britannica. I've got to go to the library and to the reference section. What do they do now? We ask a question, and they don't know. They say, Dad, hold on. And they get the question answered. Do you have access to the right tools? Yes, you do. Are you going to use those tools? Hold on a second. I'm talking to you, right? Do you have access to the tools? Of course. Now, are you going to use those tools? Remember I mentioned the matches, the tablets, and what's the other thing? The weights. Sometimes you get a gym membership, and we go and we look at the weights and it's a little too heavy, but I can start small and start, and then you pause or you actually stop. You buy tablets or things for your face and you don't use it. How are you going to look nice? I mean, nicer if you don't use those things, right? So what else do you need? Now, I'm throwing questions at you because my main concept today is talking about the why, but that you understand that why is tied to your purpose. Each one is here for a purpose in life, isn't that so? There's somebody that you're touching, whether it be a staff, your spouse, a good friend. There's somebody that you're touching, but maybe you don't have all the tools as yet. What are you going to do to get those tools? Too many times you come up with wonderful excuses, right? Don't put your hands up. Why you can't do this and why you can't start now, and because I'm female, because I'm young, because I'm short, because I'm gay. I was talking to someone who is in marketing, and I'm having some challenges making myself visible. So I said, man, you know, Alex is a good guy and doing really well and so on. This person in marketing said to me, have you seen Alex? Have you? Well, and I said, yeah, he's Guyanese. We all know he's a Guyanese by now. Yeah, but have you seen Alex, Mr. Dundas? What is your problem? Stop making excuses and get into making more effort, because whatever he is doing is because he's put himself out there. He has made the effort because he has a desire to excel. And when we talk about desire, desire really is the starting point of any achievement. Do you understand? But desire could be a little thing you kind of want. Have you ever desired a bun? And then you went to the bakery and it was like, oh, the bun looked a little dry. But if you really love coconut buns and you have a passion for coconut buns, you get in there, you buy 4, regardless of how it looks, because you think it's going to taste nice. So I'm encouraging you, don't just have a desire for the things that you're looking for and what we've been told about today, but get a passion. That passion is going to drive you to the next level to ensure that those tools that you need, you're able to access them and use them wisely. Now, what are you going to achieve? I want to tell you the thing that you're going to achieve is that thing that you thought about. But you got to get up and get going. Fair enough? Thinking, even though the book says, think and grow rich, and then there's another one that says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Thinking is just the start. Isn't that so? Taking notes is just the start. What you're going to achieve, what I'm going to achieve, because I have some things I've been taking notes about today. What I'm going to achieve, what we're going to achieve, is dependent on what we do. Some of us know about batter, and nowadays when I talk about batter, I can't say it used to be. Batter has come back. Batter Sawaki in my school days. But I love the positive thinking and pushing towards action. So for me, batter is believing and taking action. Remember what I said? If you hear about it, you had that idea, the concept is there, and you believe it's possible, you have to take action. Agreed? Many of us here have different levels of business. You're doing really well, but can you do more? The amount of money that's come into our country on a daily basis, revenue-wise, we need to stop focusing on the reality of the corruption. It's there. And start thinking about what can you do if you really believe yourself and believe that you can make a difference. How many of you believe you can make a difference? Yes, okay, 90% of the hands there. So what you got to do now, just jump. If you have a parachute and you're standing on the edge of a precipice or a mountain, will it open? You got to jump. You got to just utilize the meaningful prompts. You've been given stuff today. You got to use them. You got to jump and believe that you're going to get the results that you're looking for. Am I making sense? All right, so no matter where you are now, there is something more available to you. So then, after you've jumped, then just do it with passion. We heard about do it, just do it with Nike. But I love to add, not just do it, but do it with passion. As Guyanese, hope all of us here are Guyanese or almost Guyanese, we can just hear them scaring away sometimes. Have you ever been to a public sector place and the staff walk around like, you got to do it with passion. I mentioned earlier, don't just desire a thing. Turn the heat up and let it come to you, because as you put things out there, they're going to come to you. You're going to attract good stuff. I like to say you have to see it in the mind's eye before you can see it in the physical eye. We might have heard about manifestation and seeing the I ams and that kind of thing. So we all have a part to play in making the difference. Do it with passion, no lackadaisical, I can see what's going to happen. The reason why this is in quotation marks is because I want you to say that statement out loud and with meaning on the count of 3. These are quotation marks, by the way, in case you weren't so sure. Yeah? So, oh, I got to count. Okay, nice. I like that. Some people say it doesn't even count it. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I have the power. So what are you going to do with it? Choose what you will do. We often hear about data, the value of data, collecting information on your customers. And I'm the customer service, customer experience guy. You jumped on my story today, and I really love that. Because don't hear enough about the customer experience. So we collect information, demographic stuff about our customers. We even do, I had a company once ask me, what do I do with information collected? Take it out of the file, read it through, see what you're recognizing, and act on it, right? So data, or whatever you want to call it, decide to take action. So we're moving somewhere here now. You had a thought, you know you believe it's going to happen, and we're saying choose what you will do, and I'm telling you now to decide to take action, because a lot of times we have decisions made, isn't that so? You know, you've been to management retreats, I'm sure you come back and you have this plan of action, and who's going to do what, who's going to do what, who's going to do what. And next month you have another meeting discussing the plan of action, right? And the next month, because no one has taken the action. They just decided. So once they move away from the normal way of thinking, all this is good, I saw what Alex spoke about, I saw what Norman spoke about, you had really good stuff from Martina. Okay, you leave here and you forget. So my prompt to you, my pressure point on you is, don't just think about or decide, but decide to do what? When you speak, it helps you, right? It gets into your system. So I'm going to ask you again. You're going to decide to do what? Is that so hard? So I want to tell you, taking action is not moving from here to there. Taking action is a step. Taking action is a second step. So if you think that there are people around you who are looking and say, you ain't gone too far or you haven't done anything major as yet, that's all right. Let me celebrate the small wins, and I know I'm going to get to the big victory eventually. Destination is calling. Success is all about every step you make. As a matter of fact, a successful life is merely just a life that is filled with many successes. A successful year is a year that's filled with many successful months. A successful month is filled with many successful weeks. You get where I'm going? A successful week is many successful days. So when we start to celebrate the small wins and acknowledge what we have actually achieved, we're going to see it starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And isn't that what you want? You don't want it to be the same way it was last week. Growth brings the right changes and results. Many times we change because somebody pulled us in this direction, or you went to a nice seminar, or you read a book, but it is not what is really for you. But when we are growing, it's an intentional decision to do things that are going to help me to enhance my capacities, to get greater experience, to enhance my mindset, change my mindset to a growth mindset, and not settle for ordinary. So when we're growing, we are changing in the right direction. Growth brings, therefore, the right changes and results. But you've got to trust the process. There's going to be failure along the way. Isn't that so? Anybody ever failed in life? Only 4 hands going, oh, okay, yeah, right. We've all failed at some time. But it was because we were trying. See, when we stay in that nice little box or safety zone, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to hurt us. But it's when we have this awesome idea and we decide, Rawle said that whatever I conceive, Napoleon Hill said, let me step out. And when you step out, that's when the trouble starts to happen. But that's when the learning takes place. Because you've been bold enough to make the move and your intentions were clear. Not your hopes and your wishy-washy thinking. Your intentions were clear. So you have to trust the process if you're going to have the success that you desire. So don't say, when I become. It just came to me slowly. Don't say, when I become. Again, be very careful with the words you use. You know, one of these days, I get that. One of these days, I get that. A lot of young people, they're told, you have great potential. One of these days, you're going to do really well. Instead, say to people, I will be successful. What is potential? You all know the meaning of potential, but my simple definition is, it is power not being used, or latent power. So when you tell a young person you've got potential, they, instead of saying, okay, I'll wait, they should say, of course, I am a success, I am powerful, I'm going to step out and make a difference. So be successful, don't just wonder when you're going to become. When you leave here, what are you going to do differently? Whether you put it on your notes in your phone or a pad like I have or in your head. So I'm going to pause or slow down so you can think about what you're going to do differently when you leave here. And don't just say, oh, I promise I'll do this. Again, words. A promise is said to be a comfort to a fool. But those of us who are people of integrity, and everyone here is someone of integrity, we understand that when we make a promise, it is carefully thought out because we intend to fulfill that promise. So a commitment is a promise wisely made. All right? So what are you going to commit to doing when you leave here? Alex just speak about having a group chat and so on. Some people are like, a group chat? I can see happy Thursday, happy Friday, and that kind of thing. No, that's not going to be in the group chat. Well, write down what you will do differently. A couple of years ago, 2 years ago actually, I decided that my business wasn't going the way I wanted it to go. I struck up with a friend who was my age, and he says, oh, there's a young group of social media persons who are going to help you. So I jumped on board. Let's make sure she's not in the room here. Yeah, but what I'm going to do after today, I'm going to tag with Alex and these others. I'm going to do one thing. Because the money I'm paying for social media, I'm not getting it back because I won't talk about all the reasons why. But it now comes down to me. Sometimes we make choices and it doesn't work out. Don't keep going bullheadedly down in the wrong direction. As adults, as people who want to win, we can turn and change, but don't change your destination. You might change your direction because it isn't getting you to where you want to go, but don't change your destination. Go through the challenges. Go through the issues. Grow. Know the different word there, right? Go through, but grow through those things that are put your way. It is not easy to be an influencer. It wasn't easy. When I did my very first business card, and the guy said, put your face on it, I'm like, I don't. And then you're going to do TikTok and that kind of thing. I got to go out there, and that's not me. And when I look at these guys, I'm thinking, I can never be. But I said, no, Rawle, you don't talk like that. And I want to encourage you, don't do that. Don't say I can never be. Tell yourself, I need to get this done because these are my intentions. These are my goals. These are my growth objectives. And so once you decide that, you're going to find a way to get it done. Everything that you need to be great is already inside of you. Les Brown says, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So that match that you have in a matchbox, just take it out of the box and light it. That idea that you have, write it down, call a friend, make a start. You need money to invest. Where you get the money from? What's the regular thing now everybody's talking about? The bank. You're going to get your $3 million, right? How many of you did a business plan already? Okay, good, nice. The business plan to get into the development bank, right? So the way you market yourself leads to the levels of success you're going to have. There's a whole lot of stuff on marketing just now. What are you, my question is back to the why. What are you willing to do and why? Who's it for? The children, the grandchildren, your own dreams that you want to get a home or piece of land to enhance yourself? When we ask those questions, it promotes us or propels us to acting on the thoughts and the decisions. Sometimes fear creeps in us, and again, we saw fear on one of the slides. That's the terrible thing about coming last. You see, people are touching all your points. Fear, I actually heard it said in a psychology class that it actually does mean false evidence appearing real. Because when you're fearing a thing has not happened, you're just thinking it might happen later on. But how many of us know that we can dictate what's going to happen? We can manifest stuff based on what comes to our head, our belief in it, and our action to make it happen, right? So don't fear the next step. Step, as I like to say, I will stride confidently into that next challenge because I believe I can overcome it and I can win. But I hope that I have given you stuff that can help you to think that what is being said today can be used for my benefit, all right? And I want to encourage you to be like me. What am I going to do? I'm going to utilize the information today to get started on another level. I'm going to step out. I'm going to really make not just a difference every now and then, but a difference every day with every person because I believe in what I have in my products. And I believe a lot in our dear country. How many of you believe in Guyana? Oh, shucks. All right, yeah, hands went up quite quickly and so on. Are you ready to make the sacrifices to make the difference? Are you ready to implement what you've heard today, knowing, not kind of thinking, knowing that what you've heard is implementable, it's possible, it can be done? And I'm going to stop at that. Whenever we sing the song, let us cooperate together. Can we do it? Yes, we can. So that sounds nice, right? Well, let me bust your bubble a little bit. What does we can mean? Not necessarily. It just means you have the ability to do it, the desire. So let me tell you, go to the must and the will, the intentionality. Go from good to great. Go from just having a little desire to a passion to truly make a difference based on what you will do at the end of today. Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right, good, good. Give it up for Alex one more time for me, people.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, well, he's coming now to do that workshop session.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys enjoy. Take care.
You can take that. I'm mic'd. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time so far. So I want to do a very hands-on kind of experience. I started by telling you how I do things, and it was a bit of a lecture. I know for at least there's 2 hotels here. Do we have a third? We have Cara. We've got, yep, there you go. So, oh yeah, third. Okay. Let's start with Cara. Sean, quick, remind me, is this the oldest hotel in Georgetown still operating?
Building 8
Okay, great. So if we're doing hotels, do you currently have any videos or any content or anything out there about what the rooms look like or the venue or kind of showing everything around? Okay, great. And I think you're not alone. I think a lot of hotels have a very limited amount of video. Choosing a place to sleep requires a lot of trust, right? It's an exchange of money versus trust. And look, photos will do great, but if you went out and let's say you did a video that started as, your first one was, this is the oldest operating hotel in Guyana. And then you showed through and like, all right, well, and then you showed through the courtyard in the back. You showed through like how everything looked, and you just had one of your marketing staff or one of your front of house just kind of, it doesn't even have to be that deep in information, but how many people, like what year was the building built? 1840. How many people in this room knew that we had a hotel in Guyana built in 1840? And it looks like it. It has that old look, and it's beautiful. Congrats. But by being able to create content like that, you disseminate that information, and then it just, again, it's mildly interesting, but the amount of people, the amount of eyes that are on Guyana right now is incredible. So most Guyanese businesses don't own the space that they're in, and actually, there is so much space available. I talk about this in a couple of my videos. Thank you. The real estate that I'm investing in, the only real estate I could afford right now is online real estate. So when I go and talk about something, I could be the only one talking about that. That way I own that space. When Wild Tales makes videos about survival courses, I mean, I don't know anybody else doing it. So when you Google survival course Guyana, who comes up? Anders and his beautiful face. Again, sex sells, right? If you go and Google if you search on TikTok or Instagram hotels, there's not a lot of like actual greenscape content, which is, or greenfield, sorry. It means that it's wide open for you. By doing a tour of your hotel, for instance, you're not forcing in anyone's minds or anybody's face, but you've created content, say, this is the oldest hotel, here's a tour. And a lot of people in town are like, oh, didn't know. All right, next one. This is how we maintain the wood, because it's mostly wood. This is how we maintain the wood of a 80-year-old hotel. Again, these mildly interesting niche topics, and you just compound on that, and you just do a whole series of that. And then eventually, people start to catch on, and then you become an authority. Like if you have family visiting, and they say, hey, we want to stay in a hotel, but we want something with character. What do you recommend? Well, you've already been imprinted on, right? Or there's a huge amount of Guyanese in the diaspora who are actively absorbing as much content as possible about Guyana. I know this because I got a lot of fans out in Toronto, which I think is crazy to me. But the fact is there's a lot of people outside of Guyana absorbing. I had a group of people that I met at Building Expo were from Boa Vista in Brazil. And again, there's a lot of people in Brazil looking at Guyana, and they're just trying to see, like, what can we do? What can we see? They're absorbing as much as humanly possible. I think there's some guys from Jules here. Yeah, big up. Same sort of concept, right? Like, we know the hotel is brand new. We know that it is opulent, and we've been in the foyer, and it's real nice. I have not once seen what the bedrooms or what to expect, right? Like, when there was a couple presentations, Norman specifically talked on managing expectations, but I have no expectations because there's no content around there, right? It doesn't have to sell me. You don't have to say, hey, come and stay at this hotel. It's just like, hey, we're Jules, we're a mid-city hotel, we've just been built, and this is what the rooms look like. Or let's do a room tour of our presidential suite. Or something like that, and you could do a whole series on it. Just like I said that Kara could easily do, and I would easily absorb it, a series on how we treat our wood. Jules, for instance, can do a whole series on like a how it's made style thing, just chatting to the engineer, explaining. Again, on surface, it sounds like very mildly ineffective topics to make videos about, but when you compound it over time, again, the more I see it, the more in my mind it is that, all right, this is a hotel that I could trust because I've seen it without the coverings, like I know all about it. I feel like the marketing manager talking to me on my phone at 3 a.m. because I should have been asleep hours ago is communicating directly to me. Does that make sense? Okay, great. Now, what other businesses? Let's hear it from you. What are you guys doing? All right, so Malia's Kitchen. I may have my entire citizenship revoked. I have no idea how to make mataya. Who here knows how to make mataya? Like, no, if you had a gun to your head and said, hey, make it right now, you can make it? But I would watch an entire series on how to do it, right? And how many people make content right now about how to make mataya? No. The government, sorry? No? The government goes on a lot about agro-processing. And about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I did my full series on dehydrating fruit, and that is technically agro-processing. And I just kind of filled up that whole niche of what it was, because the government would say, we need our agriculture sector to get into agro-processing, but they didn't actually fill in the gaps of what that is. So I filled that entire niche, right? I explained, you take a lime, you cut the top of it because you don't want it to slide. And again, that sounds like something, it's a basic process, just cutting the top of lime off so that it doesn't slide out your slicer. But that, again, was mildly interesting content and a very niche subject. And it went big because, again, people were like, oh, you know, I didn't even think about that. That's real interesting, right? Same with Malia's Kitchen. I would love to see the process. Like, hey, we're making mitai here. This is the process. What do you make? Salsa? What else you make? Exactly. I mean, that's like 10 videos right there, right? And the behind the scenes. And you could talk about how you design your packaging. You could design all of that. The black cake is very good. That's actually how we met at Building Expo 2 years ago, I think. All right, who else? What do you got?
Advertising. Do you think it's still something that's relevant in this environment where social media is?
Are we not here? Isn't this all average? Yeah. Look, there's a lot of people here that are going to leave inspired. I mean, how can you not be, right? And you want to do better. And for the last couple hours, we've been telling you, hey, you got to be your own influencer. You got to be your own. Now, there's still going to be people who need guidance. There may be people who, like, content is just the first part of it. There's enriching your content. You should always back it up with paid ads. You should do it. Like, there's a lot of strategy to it. So all of you guys can go out, and I really want you to do the very basics, which is telling your own story. But as you grow and you scale and your demand grows, there's going to be a massive need for marketing agencies like yourself because you've been doing it for so long, right? You should always be backing up. Eventually, you should back up your content with reasonable ads, you know? Yeah, ads aren't bad. It's just you should, as a small business, or any business really, especially in this real estate available space that we have, that content first and then back up. Does that make sense? Am I completely wrong? No? At the back.
So I'm a leader on the ground, and my thing is empowering people. I'm a social worker by profession.
Yeah.
So I want to use this opportunity to see how I can build on, empowering people. Like, for instance, with this bank that is coming on now on board, I want to help persons to be ready for that. So I'm using this opportunity to see how well I can, reach as much people in my community to get that done. So how can I?
So this is how I would do it if I were you.
Thank you.
Rawle, who just spoke, I met him maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, but I actually first came across Rawle on TikTok. All right, like, again, maybe outside of his comfort zone, but he was making videos, and I was like, he was giving little bits of information and little bits of empowerment stuff, and I was like, all right, I relate to that, and I followed it. And then we had the opportunity to meet at that event at Hermanson Lodge, if you remember. And that's when I heard you speak, I was like, all right, if I do something in the future, I got to get Rawle involved. But what I would do is a series of, and like I have a Facebook group that I try to disseminate as much information as possible, but sometimes you need you need more specific voices. So if I were you, I'd create a series on, all right, what does a business plan look like? The second information, because with the development bank, a lot of information has been kind of squeezed out. It's not been disseminated in a really, let me put this politely. It's been, it's a little bit all over the place, but you, as an expert who wants to help people, and if you could communicate it properly, just like you just did, right? You've already passed the first test. As updates come, communicate it to the people, and just create your content that way. It's a real hot topic right now. You will do well on social media, but you'd have to introduce yourself properly at the beginning of each video, have the hook. Again, don't be deceitful with the hook, but just be like, this is this, and we're doing business plans for the development bank, and you'll get people who stay. And then this is what you should do, and then this is what you shouldn't do. I would do a video where it's like I don't know if you've seen it, top 5 videos do very well, so I'd be like top 5 this and top 5 that. So you could, if I were you, I'd do top 5 things I could do to prepare for the development bank loan system. Sound good? From there, there's like your first 5 videos, and then from there, I highly recommend you just listen to your audience. They'll ask lots of questions, and I wouldn't just answer them all in text. I would film videos, and then you can actually reply to that comment with the video, and it indexes even further. It builds a lot more momentum that way. If that makes sense. Yeah, does that help? Great. All right. Who else? What are we doing? Yes. Oh yeah, of course. We spoke about this earlier today. Insurance, again, is another one of those businesses that require a lot of trust. It's a trust exchange, right? If I were you, and I know with lawyers, is there any sort of like requirements on any sort of limitation on how you can market, or no? You could just do whatever as an insurance brokerage. Sorry? Okay, you're not supposed to in Guyana. Yeah, but well, lawyers are. What about insurance? Okay, so I was speaking to a lawyer, and it kind of, again, it requires a lot of trust. If I was a lawyer or if I was an insurance broker, what I would do is impart information that I know and experiences and just kind of give tips without trying to be too salesy. Because again, what you want, like I said with the tire shop, is you want to be that authority so that when people will want to buy from you before they even need to, right? Like I would do a couple videos where I would say, hey, have you checked your policies? You know, you could get this, this, and this. And then when people go back and check, and they realize, oh, no, you're right, they're great. Or just a video where it says, hey, what does your coverage get you? You should, you know, double check or triple, make sure you're covered. I would just create a whole series of content around what it means to be fully insured, right? Because again, you just want to keep talking about that topic. Does that make sense? And then maybe even give it examples of like, all right, well, I had a client last week, they had a massive accident. It turns out that it was a hit and run, a minibus hit him and ran away. Luckily, they had enough insurance, and then just those little bits of information, those little, again, that would be 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. And then at no point did you say you should buy insurance from me. But that further impressing, they're now sitting, well, she's got my back, she's got that person's back, she may have my back. And then you just do that over time, because it won't be overnight. But eventually, when they want insurance, so they'll come to a broker and be like, hey, am I properly covered? And the next thing you know, you could, you know, or when they add new cars, they'll come to you. There's a lot of avenues that way. You in your business, you just need to set yourself up as the authority by building trust over time. Does that make sense? Lots of little clips. Again, just imparting information, building that influence like step by step. Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry. Okay, you go first, then we'll come to Dixie.
Okay, so I'm Althea. I have a growing business. It's t-shirt printing and embroidery.
Awesome.
And how do I promote my business? Well, of course, there are other well-established companies within the same industry.
Mm-hmm.
How can I, earlier one of the presenters spoke about, for example, showing the process of how to get your t-shirts printed or the embroidery or sublimation, whatever. How can I put that out there without feeling like I'm not as good as those who are well-established? Well, we know the big branding companies. How can I do that confidently?
Okay, well, first of all, I mean, you're just giving me an easy one here. People buy from people. People don't buy from businesses. I have not once seen Neil from Impressions make a video that says, hey, this is the process of how we do things. He's too big, obviously. Like he's got his own stuff. And he has a whole different set of clients. But you can set up and say, this is, we've got this client and they want 100 embroidered towels, so we're gonna go make these 100 towels. And you just show them how it does it, like how you do it. You don't show the product, you show the process. Every single time you get a customer, you just show the process. You film you doing it. You don't just film the product at the end. And then you'll find people start to comment, they'll start to interact, and then that audience will then become your customers. You may have to fake a couple orders and just be like, you know, just pretend the order came through and just make them. But again, you're just trying to create content. You know, you're just trying to show the process. You're trying to show behind the scenes of everything. You would be like, all right, well, I run this business. My aunt is having her 60th birthday. We're making shirts, you know, and then show you stamping and show the process. Because there's a lot of people who don't really understand that like DTG is just like a hot stamp, right? Or like a print, or how an embroider works. I still have no idea. So there's a lot of that, like, again, mildly interesting content. You put it out there. That kind of content actually does extremely well on social media. But it's really important that when you do that, there's a direct loop back to how they could get in contact with you. I see a few of these businesses, like there's a lawn care business in Guyana. I think they've changed it now. They would have all these great videos and interactions, but there was no phone number, there was no website, there was nothing for them to, you know, they saw the content and they're like, okay, great, how do I get in service, like get in contact? I have to comment on the video, it just gets lost. So again, make sure that your positioning is right, make sure your phone number is there and your lead gen is good. But again, just show the work. Sorry, Dixie was first and then we'll come to you, sorry. Dixie.
So, as you know, I am doing local ice cream, and before the local ice cream, I would do the locally made cream liqueur.
Yeah.
But I am kind of torn how to market the both. There are both milk-based,
Yeah.
but one have alcohol and one don't have alcohol. So I'm like, should I market the two together or separate them and market the liqueur differently from the ice cream? So what do you think? How should I do that?
Right off the bat, because those are two very different businesses, and I'm very familiar with your two businesses. They'll have two different audiences, but there's no reason those audiences can't overlap. Can you make an ice cream out of the liqueur?
We can do milkshakes.
No, but can I get an ice cream sundae, like the ice cream flavored? So if you're unfamiliar, Dixie's has Dixie's cream liqueur, and she does a Capadula cream liqueur. Can I get a Capadula flavored ice cream, like from the cream liqueur?
Possibly.
I mean, there you go. There's your crossover right there.
It's not done.
Food is a really easy one again as well. Like again, I'm not trying to. I love this place. The place is home. But we got none to do here, right? And who believes in never see, come for see? Good. All right. That like anybody who ever asked me, hey, I run a restaurant. What do we do? Never see, come for see. Build something cool. Make sure that manage expectations. Make sure it's going to be good at scale. Right, so all right, you've got ice cream, which is a great product. We know this. And you've got your liqueur. Great product. We know this.
Yeah.
Nobody in Guyana has had a soft serve cream liqueur ice cream. Bradams.
Wow.
You can get people to come and see it. And that's how I would market the both. And then as they come through, maybe offer them samples of each one. Or that's how I would do it to start.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Who's next? Oh, sorry. Yes.
I was actually just going to respond to the lady and the printing company, Althea. Althea, you could take it from the other end, where you're going to be devil's advocate. The other company is big, they're busy, and they're possibly expensive. And therefore, it's a great approach to come to you. Just another way of thinking of it that I thought
There we go. The power of community. Good stuff. Sorry, we'll go you, Bright Jacket, and then Agri, we're coming to you, don't worry.
Hi everyone, my name is Malachi. I'm a 17-year-old spa owner. And
amazing, man, congrats.
And there are two things. One being I am a male in a female dominant field. And the next thing is my location. The community is not used to being pampered to such luxury. So the service is kind of new to them. And in terms of the outcome of clientele and so forth, is a bit difficult. Now, if I'm to come to Georgetown, I'm going to have to compete with a number of spas that is located here. So my question is, how can I market my business in my community to encourage them to come out without having to change locations?
Okay, have you ever tried to get your community to come into your spa?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay, so like you've gone to a big auntie and been like, hey, look, come and try this thing?
Yeah. Okay. I do have a lot
of Have you filmed it?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. So I have persons that normally come on like special occasions. It's like not something that they would do monthly, a regular thing.
Yeah.
It's mostly, a birthday, let me go get a facial. A wedding coming up, let me go get a facial. So I want to be able to make it like a regular pamper, a maintenance.
Right.
So how can I market that to encourage them to pamper themselves? Because skincare is something that we should start taking more serious in Guyana, especially with the sun.
It's hot out there.
And being able to protect your skin and being youthful in a very old age to present youthful. So that is something
you're 17. You got All right, we trying out here. All right, what? First of all, where is your spa?
Burbies,
okay.
West Coast Burbies.
West Coast Burbies. Who lives in West Coast?
Actually, not far from where you went, Bushlot.
Oh, right.
I'm right next to the village, right over.
Nice. And who lives down that area? Anybody here? Who has a friend in Bushlot? All right, if you got a friend, tell them go there. That's your first step. Secondly, what I would do, you said you've already tried to bring people in, like, you said your community isn't quite used to that kind of pampering.
Yes.
And you've offered like, hey, come in and I'll do this thing for free, exchange for video or whatnot?
Well, in the beginning I would have, but
Okay.
I didn't have a turnout, well, mainly because I probably did not advertise it as much.
Okay, so what I would do if I were you, again, I'm not sure exactly what you've done, but I'm just saying, just with the information I've been given now, I would go around and try and find, like, even if it's friends of friends, my friend's mother, friend's mother, sister's cousin, and bring them in, and then just offer them, again, a free service. I don't know what your costs are associated. It's a service, though, so I imagine, like, you're not using that much product. And I would film the entire thing and be like, and then show people in your community enjoying it, and then have them do a review as a second video as well. So that's 2 pieces of content per person. Martina just gave a really great piece about if you don't invest in your marketing, how are you supposed to grow? Fortunately, as a service, you don't have to spend a lot of money. Well, your outlay on product isn't super high, it's your time. Unfortunately, all marketing costs something. So at least if you could dedicate some time, a couple times a week, and your entire thing is, I'm gonna do a couple of free here and there and video and post it. Have you ever seen those crazy videos online with a guy who does free lawn care? That dude has a flourishing lawn care business, by the way, but he does a couple free every so often because it makes good content and it drives engagement and it drives sales for him. So that's my first step. And then secondly, back when I was in Australia, or even in the cafes here, some of the more upbeat cafes will have a little membership card. So it's like, all right, you can either, in Australia, I went to the spa and I could pre-buy 10 visits and I got a little discount. Or at, like, let's say Avenue or maybe even Starbucks or whatever, you buy 10, you get the 10th free. Something like that to just kind of drive repeat. But I would definitely just start with, look, you never had you particularly go find someone. What kind of treatments do you offer?
So I normally do facials and lash extensions.
Okay, great.
But my specialty is facials.
Okay, great. So what I would do is go find an auntie, like, or an uncle or something, like someone who's completely out of character as well. And be like, look, have you ever had a facial? No? And you're gonna get a lot of people saying no to it. But if you could just get one, and again, someone who, because you're breaking stereotypes here, you're going against paradigm.
Yeah, because a lot of my clients are persons who would have been the first time coming getting a facial.
Exactly.
So that my job, the thing that I want to do is make sure that they have a first good experience. So that has been my role in doing that in my community. And so far the feedback has been great.
Amazing.
I've been having some clients come back, but the thing is getting regulars.
So again, what I would do is offer a couple free here and there, and very particularly just keep trying to get, even if it's just one a week, just film it, put it out. Even if like 200 people, just film and put it out. Is there any spas in your neighborhood?
Actually, yes, there are. Recently, I would have discovered there are a few spas throughout West Coast Berbice that recently started. But you see, the thing is, the way I differentiate myself from them is that my services include neck, shoulder, head massages.
Yeah.
And what they normally do, they only focus on the face. So in how I'm different is that I make sure that everywhere is fully relaxed, everywhere is fully massaged, and you leave feeling refreshed.
Have you ever made a video communicating that?
Well, no, I have not. That has been one of my problems, been lacking in terms of putting out content there.
Yeah. Well, again, so hopefully you leave here with the intent and the idea and the encouragement, and then we're going to form our Facebook group, and you just put up your first couple of videos in there, and I'll help critique it or help you point you in the right direction. But that's where it's going to begin.
Thank you.
Sorry, we got.
So just responding to him again.
Yeah.
There's this Trinidadian guy who does hair dressing. And he always shows the person when they come in and when they leave. And the absolute transformation.
Well, there you go.
And it has become, everybody looks at them.
Yeah. Well, that's your hook, right? There we go.
I'm Samantha Henry, and I'm the owner of the Rejuvenate Health Spa. There are places in Guyana, because of our economic situation, you gotta approach a spa by health. Tell them how much it can help them in terms of the skin, what they can get out of it, the health benefits, because of your community. With me, my core business is massages. Everybody who comes to me is because they have a pain. And because of that, I'm never out of business because Guyanese are... I'm serious. if you focus on the beauty, because when I started small. I invested, I had a small place, I had not much to invest. So if you go with this fancy thing, it won't get to them. But if you can tell them what it can do for their health, and you focus on that and mainly study that, guess what? You will get clients, because where you living now, but they don't focus on luxury. They focus on what can help them. So you got to know what can help. Right?
Good.
Thank
Good
you,
context.
everyone.
All right. Bright jacket, we promised her.
Red jacket or
no,
coral?
bright.
Bright jacket, Sophia. For everybody who is wondering how to market your business, identify what's the problem you're solving. Once you identify the problem, sell the solution.
Yeah, luxury can be intimidating indeed. Because, you know, sometimes you put out a business and people might say, that's scary, or I can't afford that. Yeah. So I need Alex's assistance, or maybe somebody else can help me. My name is Sophia Dolphin. I came from retail.
Great.
I used to manage a well-known store, and then I started a media company called Glossy with my children, and I have a radio show for 8 years.
Awesome.
And then we have our 6-year Brunch with Bosses for single moms and women who are now starting. So my predicament right now is I feel like I'm in a plateau stage where the show is running for 8 years. We have 90% of recurring companies that work with us. So basically they pay us to run ads on the radio. So right now I'm thinking of ways I can get extra money, have extra streams, because we already have the yearly event, and I already talked to you for help.
You already talked to me about
By the way,
it.
guys, let me let you know I already asked Alex to help me for this year's event, and he promised me he will, so I'll keep you posted on that.
Ooh.
And then I had to leverage the digital radio now with social media, so the work becomes more.
Yeah.
So how can I use the show that already is doing well to think about other ways I can use the name, or even the radio show I already have, to do other things?
Okay.
I started a podcast, but it fell through because
Podcast is a lot of
being
work.
a full-time mother, and then my technical skills are not so much. So what are some recommendations?
For your radio, do you film it and clip it, or no?
It's live stream,
Okay.
and then I go live on social media, and
Okay.
then sometimes I do clips and show what behind the scenes in the studio.
Maybe like if you don't want to get too technical, if you don't want to record and clip the whole thing, have some sort of like hotkey on your keyboard, and then you just hit it every single time that something interesting got said, and that way you know that like there's ways to do it so that, all right, you know that at 6 minutes 30 seconds something funny just happened, so you can just go straight to that. You don't have to keep going through. But in the age of social media, like all the great podcasts, all the great radio stations, it's all clipped, and that's how you drive engagement to your show, you know?
Yeah, what you just said, it just flew over
Okay.
my head. And that's one of my prayers. I've been praying for a husband who is digitally and very tech savvy. Like I felt at one time, because I get paid to talk. I mean, I would think that I'm well trusted in the Guyana market. So I have even went on a couple of months praying. It's like, God, I need a technical husband. I need somebody who is more tech savvy, because that my children helps me, but they have their school, and sometimes they're literally like, Mom, no more.
And they want to be kids.
Yeah.
You can't fault them.
That's what it means being a mom in business. It's tough, especially in such a digital age. And
what station is the radio station on?
It's on 89.5, and I would love to feature you on my show for free, because we do have a wide listening audience in Berbice, region 5 and 6.
Connect to the end of this.
So I'll definitely love to give you some airtime for free. All right, and then we'll think about paying after.
But right off the bat, the first thing I would consider is if you're already live streaming it, it's already recorded. There's a couple AI softwares. It does like 90% of the work, where it'll clip it for you. It can detect like what's going on. I've had some success. You just got to choose the good clips. But because I posted some of the crap clips, I thought might be okay. They don't go very well.
Should I consider the podcast again?
Sorry?
The podcast.
A podcast requires a lot of work. That's the only thing. Yeah, you need it's not even the money. It's just the to keep getting interesting people, because it's something that like even Norman and I talk about all the time. And then I just think, Lord, I gotta live and enjoy life and do this podcast. All right, who's next?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sophie. Sorry, Guido, can we have you run a mic? All right, we'll get to you in the end. All right, I see you.
Hello.
Morning.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Melania. My colleague and I here are co-founders of a CSO, which is called Cycle. So what we're going to ask is a bit, okay. So it's the Caribbean Youth Conservation Leadership Ensemble. Basically, we are working on more of the environmental aspects. So we're focusing on species, things that like the ecosystems, etc. Additionally, I am the lead officer for the youth initiative that we are offering. So I would have a few questions in that regard. Well, one main question. So when it comes to youth work in Guyana, it is highly promoted, etc., which is not that hard. However, for a new CSO that is currently starting, what would be your advice on an organization to promote and, let's say, reach out to the right audience, not just the audience, let's say. Most of Guyanese are not too familiar on the environmental aspect, I must be honest. But I really love that the youths are really active now and really interested into getting into youth work, etc. So what would be your advice on us as a new CSO starting, and how would you advise us to go about with not just advertising what we do or how we would help the communities and the kind of outreach that we would do, but also how would you advise us to, like, let's say for grants, etc.?
Okay, first of all, I'm gonna get very repetitive on this because, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I just mean I think all roads, for me at least, lead to film the process, you know, post the process, not necessarily the product. The product could get featured, but, you know, show us, well, first of all, I don't even know how you form a CSO, right? That could be a whole series by itself. What is a CSO? Introduce the team, do all of that, and you won't need to find the people. When you do it and you put it out there, guess what? The people find you. The algorithm finds people who might be interested in your mildly interested niche content, and then you build your audience that way, right? So I would start by just showing the process. Again, I'm sorry if I get repetitive, but I think that's the core point here is just post, create decent content around the process of doing whatever you're doing, and then you'll find. But make sure it tells a story.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does make a lot of sense.
There are a lot of people in Guyana who are very interested, especially the youth, in the environment. Like when I did the horse video, the amount of people who showed positive reinforcement, they're like, we love horses. We had no idea the horse is taken so well care of. And, you know, so you just show the work that you're doing and it will find the people who are also interested.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make
so
sense?
much. Yeah, it does.
All right, this guy in the back here.
So I'm a website developer, software, mobile apps, business automation, AI, chatbot stuff for your business. I've had this problem for a long while. I don't know if you know about the stages in marketing funnels, but we have top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. Top of funnel is basically where people don't know what they want. They don't know who offers what they want. They want to find some. They don't know what they're looking for. They're not actively looking. I've always had a problem with top of funnel marketing for my own business. Middle of funnel is where they know what they want, but they don't know who offers it.
Sure.
And bottom of funnel is where they know what they want, they know who offers it, and they're ready to buy. Top of funnel is what I want to target. How do I do that?
So again, show the process, right? So you say you do websites, you do automations, you do consulting. I would just show, I don't know if you're familiar, I did that website for Rocha Pizza in town. Good friends of mine, if you're in town, they're very good. But I just showed like, all right, this is how I did it, and this is how it works. And again, it wasn't really a very deep level video at all. It's very surface level. It's very top funnel. But from that, I think like 2 or 3 people at least messaged me for more product. And then, you know, you keep doing that and you establish yourself as the website guy. And then you maybe show like, hey, this is I know it might be a little bit sensitive depending on if you're building custom solutions for people. You can't necessarily show exactly what you've built. But maybe even recreate or without too much detail, kind of illustrate what you are capable of or what you've done before. Again, it's just all about creating the videos and just talking about it and creating that what normally might constitute mildly interesting. But again, that's the goal. That's what sells. That's what that content will find your audience, and then they will find you. Does that make sense?
Okay. I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was wondering how to do face or faceless with website work.
I would do both. So face first, right? Because you want to build trust. Because again, B2B requires a lot of professional trust. And we want to be able to invest in somebody. And then what I would do is either show like screen recordings or a neat little trick that I've learned recently, and I showed Norman and we're working on it. Did you see that video I did, the 3 about the MV Burema tragedy with like illustrating the points and the facts? That, what I did was I recorded the video and then took the transcript from it and took the audio from it. And then I used Claude Fable 5 and then told it to animate it in a certain way. And then what I did, that gave me the full video, and then I just chopped it up. And then what it does is it enriches your content. So it's not just some dude talking to a camera, which is like without showing illustrations. And that way you get a lot of interesting things going on. You could, by switching between illustration and yourself, you keep interest, you know, because at the end of the day, we're all primitive beings and we're easily distracted. So you want to have you talking, and then still the voice going over, but then switch the illustration and come back, and you know, that way you could really drive your attention. Make sense? That's what I would do if I were you. That's my strategy going forward. You'll see a lot of my videos being enriched by these infographics and illustrations.
Thank you so much. By the way, any agency wanting to partner with a website developer, feel free to approach and talk to me.
All right, anybody else? I don't want to keep you forever. We got one more. Oh, sorry, 2. Agri and then this gentleman here.
Yep. So one of the things that I like to share with businesses here is that persons mention Google, they mention AI. However, at a very foundational level, so I'm Agri Marsh, I am the Google developer lead for Guyana. I've been in the technology space since I was 16. 2 things. 1, businesses in Guyana don't update their information on Google My Business, right? That's my point 1.
Well, first of all, one point that answers your question as well about marketing agencies. If you need help on that,
right,
there's still definitely space for a middleman.
So that's 1. That's for Google My Business. 2, WhatsApp. Every Guyanese like WhatsApp, right? I don't know why, that's just our door before the door. And we need to use Facebook, get your business on WhatsApp, fill out the catalog, don't put 2 things and not complete the data. Thirdly.
Oh, are you asking a question or are you telling me?
No, I'm just sharing. Third.
But hold on, but let's do a question first and then we could do statement at the end.
Right. So my question is, how do you position in a market where clearly there's a great deficit of incomplete data and encouraging business to go in that particular way, in very simple terms? Because I think we could get technical, but in generally just based on the audience in the room, they just need some simple 1, 2, 3 steps just to kick them into just getting online and getting online accurately and effectively.
A really simple answer to a really simple question is if there's a massive deficit of businesses doing it, don't be the deficit. You know, just go online, fill out your Google form properly. Google My Business, if you own a localized business, a physical location, super important, super free, super simple, and it'll get you found. It is incredible. Make sure that your Facebook is set up. Make sure that your LinkedIn is set up. Oh, again, all these things just point back to you. They enrich and they index for Google search. Does that help? Agri's the man. All right, I got one more in the corner here. Martina?
Hey, good day. I'm the owner of Car Marts. We
a
bringing automotive product into the country.
Yeah.
There's like car paints, clear coats, hard, you know. But I am not standing here for promote my business. I would like to give this youngster 50,000 Guyana dollars so he could go back to Bobby.
Hey,
and
that's you.
Promote and help his community. Because I know it costs a lot of money to come all the way from Bobby to Georgetown. Plus the,
so all right, so you're gonna sponsor 50,000 worth of pedicure. Oh, no, sorry,
his community
facials. Yeah, there you go. Congrats, man. Also, hold on, while I have you, Do you, by any chance, have the front right side of an X-Trail roof rack? Because I'm missing it. I need one.
No.
Damn. All right, I can't find it anywhere. But if you create content around everything you have, you'll be found. Because, oh, sorry, one last. Jay in the back.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Jay. Alex introduced me earlier. I'm from Trifold Energy. We're electrical contractor. To this gentleman who just pledged $50,000 to this youngster, I would like to, if he ever has an electrical project, pledge 30% discount on the labor costs.
There you go. Community. Thank you, Jay.
And if I could just make one more statement. There's a young lady that's sitting right a few rows up. Her name is Nicola Edwards. She has a beautiful business where she takes your small business and helps you to do, or takes all the hard work so that you can just focus on your business.
Okay.
If you can just raise your hand, please, Nicola. Serenova Solutions, I believe, her business is.
Congrats, guys. All right, we have one more, bright pants. All right, perfect.
Okay, I'm sorry, and
No,
you're
it's
gonna
okay.
hear accent, but I was born here. I'm now relocating to Guyana.
Welcome home.
Thank you. Okay, so I do handcrafted jewelry, and I want to get into the space of marketing my business in Guyana.
Okay.
So what would you, because all my social media, everything is back home, back in St. Kitts. So now moving to Guyana, I'm trying to market myself here. What is the advice will you give me to
How did
make
you do it
sure-
in St. Kitts?
To be honest, I was hiding a lot.
Okay.
My face would have done it because I would have modeled, and that is where my business started because I couldn't wear fake jewelry, and I needed something to wear when I go to events. That is going to be in my ear for about like 10 hours. So that is where I started to do my own accessories, and then it turned into a business because my friends
Very
would
cool.
come over, steal it, and
The
say,
best
"You
businesses
should."
start from a known personal need.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is my question. How do I market it in Guyana, reaching the Guyanese market?
Okay. I think I need everyone's help here. We've been over this one a couple of times. How do you do a product like that? Show the process. You know, we want to see how it's made, what it's being made of, whether it's like everything's locally sourced. We want to know the people behind it because again, people buy from people, they don't buy from businesses. We want to know every little part of it, and then we want you to, I want to see you interact in the comment sections as well. And then when someone suggests, hey, you know, it'd be really cool, a bright blue one. And you're like, all right, great. Blue like Martina's suit. And then, you know, then you do custom pieces for different people, and then, you know, that drives engagement, and you go from there.
Yeah, but I think I actually did something, but
Alright.
it's more of hitting the Guyanese market because
course.
if I post something right now, it will go straight into.
It'll still be localized.
It'll be localized.
Yeah, it's still very
Guyana.
localized.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, you will get, because you have followers over there, but it still will get localized.
Okay,
You know,
so
there-
there's no hashtag to say, okay,
I wouldn't even use hashtags. I would just
Just
post.
post and leave it
TikTok
here.
knows where you are. Instagram
Okay,
knows where
good.
you are. You know, it will get local attention.
No problem.
And then
Thank
what
you.
I would also do as well is maybe even make custom ones that are inspired by particular people. So like people with followings, because when I was in Australia, my big business was something called Deliver. It was a food logistics company. And one of the greatest levers that I used in the beginning was borrowing people's audiences. So what I would do is go and partner with these great restaurants, and then we would do giveaways of like coupons of those businesses. And they would post up and say, hey, we're doing free delivery and we're doing like win this and win that and whatever. And then they would post it, right? So then all of a sudden their followers would be like notified of what I am. I would, you know, find someone with even like 10,000 followers. And then you see that they like to wear bright colors and be like, all right, I made this thing inspired by you. If you can make a video, that'd be great. You know, just try and borrow people's audiences. Again, that's not the holy gospel in business building, but if we're trying to build content and we're trying to use content for growth, that's what I would do.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem. But again, show the process.
Yes, definitely.
All right. All right, quick, y'all shout it though.
I just started a second business whereas I'm importing freezers, commercial freezers, coolers, and so on. And I would like to donate an upright cooler to this young man.
All right. There we go. Appreciate you, sir. What's your business name? All right, there you go. Big up. All right, guys. I think this brings an end to our first power session. I am so grateful to have you in the room with me. What a magic day. Special thank you as well to everybody. Amazon Limitless, there is an offer outside for everybody involved, like that has any sort of business in town. They run a lot of the digital signboards in town. They're willing to give any business interested 30 days for free all across town in gyms and supermarkets, whatever. Just give them a shout. They're outside. All right. Thank you, everybody.